look, God, I didn't get this many views, but at least give me 10K or at least give me 20K. Please just
like,
give me something.
So he was working this hard, he died, and nothing changed.
I put in so much hard work, but the truth is, really, bro, I didn't have talent. Welcome to the Monk with Braids podcast. I'm your host, the Monk with Braids, or Lighthouse, whatever you like to call me. And in this podcast, we bring inspirational people with inspirational stories. So today I have Mansour, who is an entrepreneur, a YouTuber, and honestly, bro, you're just too humble to tell me everything you are. It's also so weird when you're recording because it's like, we're friends and we're having a conversation.
Yeah.
And so you're like, let's make this a conversation. But then doing an intro makes it feel like professional. But yeah, Mansour is the anticipation, first of all, of this episode is crazy. Because usually when I have a podcast guest, like my process is that I'll find someone that I find inspiring, either through the news or through Instagram. And basically, I'll do a little bit of research, have one meeting to see what their vibes are, and then I'll have them on. But Mansour, like I've known you for like a year now, maybe a little bit longer, maybe 2 years now, and like I've always wanted to film with you, but it's never happened, and now it's like finally it's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what, bro? Even throughout our friendship, although I've had glimpses of knowing what you do, I don't actually know all the things you do.
Yeah.
So before we even start the episode, and for my knowledge as well, what do you actually do for a living?
That's an excellent question, actually, because sometimes okay, Sahel, first of all, thank you so much for having me.
No.
This is my first podcast in English, as I was telling you, and
Yeah.
it's true that we wanted to do it for so long that I'm really, really excited to do it with you, and I really like what you do, actually, like the principle that you push and
Thanks,
all of it.
man.
It's really amazing, and yeah, like you're so young, like compared to me, and it's really nice, like seeing that is really inspiring for me. So yeah, what do I do for a living? I'm an entrepreneur, as you said. So I have like my main business, I'll say, my main source of income is my business that I have in France. I have a business that is about private drivers. We do like the same business as Uber, but for companies, so that we provide them with software that allow them to book drivers in advance for their customers, for their employees, and they can organize events and blah, blah, blah. So this is what I do. This is
Wow.
my main business, I'll say, for 10 years now. We started it 10 years ago, actually, 2014 it started, and then I started a YouTube channel. So I did this for 6 years. It was the only thing that I was doing. I was investing, of course, so because this is one of my passion, investing, stock markets, blah blah blah, real estate, etc. But then I wanted to have something else to think about intellectually, I'll say, because my business is something that is really taking a lot of, like, you have a lot of mental pressure because yeah, it's really hard, like it's a hard business. It's a good business, but it's a hard business because what we do is we provide I'll say high class service so that customers are really demanding, and even the drivers, like when you are a platform, because we don't own the drivers, like we are in the middle, we're in between the customers and the drivers, so that both of them are kind of our customers, I'll say, because we have to provide them with things, both of them. So it's really demanding. So it's really good because then you don't have to have the capital to buy the cars and all, but then you are between two different customers and you have to serve them. So I wanted, after 6 years, to think about something else. And for a long time, when I started my business, like a lot of my friends, family would tell me, okay, you started your business because you are the way you are, you are easygoing, I don't know, like you're good at sales, you're young, you don't have kids, whatever you have, whatever it is, like you can do it. And I was like, for me, it's more about the mindset more than everything. Like for me, all of the rest is excuses, only excuses. Like you don't want to do it because you can have kids. Like we have many entrepreneurs that started their business when they had kids. Actually, some of them even use their kids as a motive, to start their business. You have entrepreneurs that started their business at 60 years old and made it, like KFC founder, for example. So for me, it was all about the mindset.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share my knowledge and my experience and my failures actually, because the other thing is, and we might talk about it, but the other thing is most of people just see the success behind entrepreneurship, business, and all of it, but there's a lot of failures.
There's a lot of journeys that you go
Yeah.
through. I think it's like having a garden, right? No one wants to see the garden when there's just soil and the seeds planted, right?
Exactly.
They want to come to the garden once the flowers are there, so they
Exactly.
can take pictures and
Exactly.
and appreciate it. So,
Yeah. But
I guess that's just human nature, right?
yeah. Yeah, I guess so. We want to see the result more than
Yeah.
the process,
Yeah.
most of the time. But I don't know who say that, but like when you fell in love with the journey, then it's really easy because and rather than the goal, because then you enjoy it through the process. Because when you're only focusing on the goal, then when you don't reach the goal, you're still unhappy. I want to gain weight, for example. This is one of my goals. Like I had to fall in love with the process of eating a lot, even if I don't like eating, going to the gym, this kind of things, because I still didn't reach my goal. And thanks God, because I'm chasing this goal for 10 years, 10 plus years now. So if I was still waiting for the goal to happen, I would just be depressed by now, So I had to fall in love with the process that was going to the gym and all of this kind of things to really like it. So yeah, I guess it's human nature.
So you have your YouTube channel, you have investing in real estate, investing in crypto and stocks, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you also invest in businesses, right? Like small businesses.
Exactly.
You do NFTs as well.
I did. I'll say,
NFTs
like
before?
during the previous cycle. Yeah. I still have some, but yeah, that was like that's a long story. Like if you want to talk about the NFTs, but
we got. I mean, it's funny because like some people, they know what they want to do, and it's like that for the rest of their life. Or some people, they see 100 different options and they try everything. It feels like you just saw like a list of options and you're like, yep, this one, I'll do all of it.
This is a problem that I have. We call it it'll be in English the golden object syndrome. Like in French, it's syndrome de l'objet brillant, like the shiny object. Like you see something and you're like, I want to do this. So I think as an entrepreneur, like when you started something and you kind of had success, I'll say, into this thing, even if you had a lot of failures, you're like, I can do it. Like, so why not try it? So I have this problem actually, that is I'm trying too many new things. So I had to keep my focus. So I kind of push myself, like at the beginning of each year, I'm like, okay, this year you're just going to start maximum 3 new things, for example.
Yeah. Which is still a big number.
But like right now, Sahil, we're in March. I feel like I could have started 10 different things, 10 different projects, because there is so many things that seems interesting actually. And maybe I think people are like that, but the problem mainly is that people are most of the time scared, I think, to start something. So that's why they don't do it. But when you start and you fail sometimes, then you fall in love with the process and you just go,
I want to say like, this is a great thing to talk about actually, because like, I think, and I see this happening with a lot of people our age, and I know we're a little bit different ages, but like in that bracket, right? Where people want to start something, but they're so afraid of it not succeeding. So they decide like, let me like do 5 different things at one time and one of them are going to make it.
Yeah.
But then the thing is like, I think there's a difference between starting so many different things with the hope that one of them succeeds, but you don't try your best in all of them because you're afraid of putting all of your eggs in one basket. So there's that. And then there's also doing so many things like you've done, but it's like you try one thing, it works, it doesn't work. And if it works, you try something else. Or if it doesn't work, you try something else.
Yeah.
I don't know if I explained it right.
Yeah, that's perfectly clear for me.
There's a difference.
But yeah, I literally agree with you. But still, like in my opinion, it's still better to have the first one that is trying so many different things, to trying to find something that is going to work, rather than not doing anything. Because this is the problem. Most of people still don't do anything. So that's why I started the channel. That's what I was telling you. So in 2020, I was like, I need to share my knowledge. I'm going to start like, what is the best way to do it? Is a YouTube channel so that I can share my experience, And I was like, my goal is to have 1,000 subscribers by a year, and then we had 100,000.
Wow!
Because it popped up, and then it became a business too, And then I think it's interesting what you're saying, because when I started my company, Navico, it's called Navico in France. I didn't do anything else for 6 years, as I told you. Like even the real estate and the investment. I remember I loved investing in the stock market. Before that, I was working at the bank. So this is one of my passion, finance. But I decided to be focused on my business, to sell everything. I was like, I need to, and actually I needed money, by the way, anyways, because I needed to invest money like in the business anyways.
Yeah.
But I decided it because I was like, I don't want to lose my focus on this thing.
On
So
this
for
one thing.
6 years, I didn't do anything else. It was the only thing I was doing.
Wow.
But then I was like, okay, now that this is working, this is providing me with security. Like I have, like the money, the inflows that I need to survive. Thanks to this, now I can try every other
Anything you want.
crazy things that I want to try because I still know that this thing is existing.
You have something to fall back on.
Exactly.
Do you know what? This reminds me of something called the grief life cycle.
What is that?
Okay, it's a psychological. So I learned it when I was back in university, and essentially it's a life cycle that shows how people deal with grief. Okay, and grief doesn't only mean. I know when I say grief, everyone's like death.
Yeah.
No, but it's like it could be the loss of a business.
Okay.
It could be the loss of a friend. It could be loss of followers on Instagram because that's what happened to me like before, and so I've written it here. There's 5 stages to it. So the first stage is denial. Second stage is anger. The third is bargaining. The fourth is depression. And the last one is acceptance. So the reason why I brought this up, I had it here, but this actually happened like super, like naturally.
Smooth.
Yeah. But so I'm gonna give an example of like what I went through for this. And it's about posting content and the views and likes I was getting, right? So in the beginning, when I was getting like 80K views per reel, like it was doing amazing. And then for some reason, I just had like a dip.
Okay.
So I really struggled with it. And first I was in denial. I was like, nah, like this is just for 1 or 2 reels. It's going to get better later. But then like reality hits and then you're still getting it. And then you get angry because you're putting so much effort into this one thing, but it's just not working out, right? Then you get into the stage of bargaining. Bargaining is like, look, God, I didn't get this many views, but at least give me 10K or at least give me 20K. Please just
Like,
give me something, right? And then you get into, when that doesn't work, you get into depression. You're like, okay, that's it. I've given up, whatever. And then at some point you reach the stage of acceptance.
This is amazing. The cycle. Never heard of it, but it's so true.
Right? But let me tell you something. And this is why, one, I wanted to have you on here, and this relates to failures, right? Because this could be looked as a failure if this happens to you, this cycle. The 5th stage of the cycle is acceptance. However, one thing I learned when I was getting my life coach certificate is that you don't stay at acceptance. Don't just accept it. There should be a 6th stage, which is growth. So this is when you look at everything and you're like, okay, this doesn't work out, but rather than just accepting it, either let me go into the same thing, okay? Let me look at the same thing, but change my approach because that didn't work. Or if you've given literally everything you have into it and it didn't work, you're like, okay, I have a list of 10 things I tried to do. This one doesn't work. Tick box, put it to the side. Let's try the other 9 things. And the point is that if you keep doing this and you go through that cycle and you reach that stage of growth, if you have a list of 10 things you want to do, I swear to God, one of them is going to work. At some point, one of them is going to work, but you have to go through those stages at some point. And so the reason why I say all of this is because I know that the private driver business, that's like your main thing,
Yeah.
and that's what you started with. And I wanted to talk to you more about that because
Yes.
I've never sat with someone and just talked to them about everything relating to like a business they've done. And I want to, because we were talking about gardens and stuff like that, I'm gonna use the growth of a plant as an analogy to compare it with the growth of your career.
Very good.
Okay? And this is how I'm gonna start it.
And it's gonna be a plan that has been broken so many times, like, and then trying to go back up,
Well,
and then
I'll
the
give
wind
you-
comes, the whatever.
Okay, that's an important part of it, the wind. But let's start with the seed,
Okay.
right? Every plant, every garden, every tree, every forest starts with a bunch of seeds. What was your seed? What was the thing that sparked you? Was it people around you? What was it that made you go, I want to be an entrepreneur?
Okay, so I was pretty lucky about it because when I was younger, like the two fathers of my best friends, of my two best friends, their father were entrepreneurs. So I was like, I saw them growing up and I was like, huh, those guys look so free. Like they look,
Freedom.
like the freedom looks amazing. Like they can go whenever they want to go to work. They travel a lot. They
Mm.
come back. Like I remember one of my friends, he always had the latest PS that was outside, like the PlayStation, you know, like he always it looked amazing.
We all
You
have
know?
that like one
Yeah,
friend whose
that
father
had
is like super wealthy, and
everything.
you're like,
Exactly.
I want that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and what was amazing for me is that he was always bringing things from abroad. So I wanted to travel like since I was young, and it was amazing for me. I was like, huh, this guy has the perfect life, you know. So
Yeah.
I want this. So growing up, I was always thinking about it. Like when my teacher were asking me, hey, what do you want to do? I was like, either being working at the bank because I love numbers, I love money, I love digits,
Yeah.
or being an entrepreneur because I love the freedom about it and I want to travel the world. So that was kind of the two things I want to do. Like One Piece. I don't know if you know the manga One Piece. Like this, they're pirates and
Oh
the
yes,
goal.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
so the
yes.
goal is to be like the most free possible. So
Wow.
so yeah, so that's kind of like the
Okay.
thing that I really liked. So that was my spark, I'll say.
Okay.
I'll say that was
That was the
the
thing that
seed.
sparked it.
Yeah.
Okay. So a plant starts with the seed, and then around it is nutrient-rich soil, right? You have the soil
Yes.
that it's around. So what was your? Let's fast forward to you have the seed. You're going through your life. What was your environment like when you decided like I want to be an entrepreneur? Was it like you were having a bunch of was it like you were having a bunch of jobs and you hated your boss? Was it like financial struggles where you're like, my family's not doing well, so let me start this? Like, what was that environment that made you go, this is why I want to do it and this is the right time?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Actually, I think I was lucky because, like, let's talk about environment. Like, even in my household, like, my mom was always telling me, and I think it works as a kid, you can do whatever you want. Like, you're gonna succeed in whatever you want to do. And this is a thing that's stuck on my mind. Like for like until now, I'm always thinking like I see a lot of my friends thinking, hey, like this is too risky, and I'm like, if this is literally what I tell everyone, if someone that has a head, two hands, two feet did it, why not? Like you can still do it. Why not? You know.
Mm.
So it helped a lot, this mindset. But yeah, I'll say that I'm a hard worker. Like literally, I can work, I don't know, 18 hours if it's necessary. Like for sometimes, of
I've
course, I
seen
cannot
it. You
do it.
don't even have like weekdays, weekends.
Yeah,
You're just always
like
yeah.
literally, I worked until 4 a.m. yesterday. And like if I need to do something, I'm gonna get it done. Like this is my thing, and like
Mm.
this is how I see life actually. So and when I love it, it's even worse because then I can't even sleep. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna think about it the
It's like
whole
you're
time.
completely obsessed
Exactly.
with it.
Like the
Yeah.
YouTube channel, when I started it, it was an obsession, literally. I was waking up in the middle of the night with an idea. I want to start the video. I want to go and do it.
Wow.
So I think it helps too. So I'm a hard worker. So when I started working at the bank, I wanted it to be the best possible I could ever be, like myself. Not beating someone else, but being the best I could be at the bank. So I would work my ass off, like really hard. And I remember, like I'll say the spark was the day when my last year I was the number one in my region, and my bonus. So my boss comes in my office and gives me my bonus. It was, I don't know, something around like 5,000 euros.
Mm.
So I was the best. So it was like, I mean, it was good money
It's
at the
good.
time. I was
Very
24,
good.
so it was really good.
Wow.
It was really good money. But then I go to his office, and I remember I has this image on my mind. He was sitting in his desk with his newspaper, and he has his feet on the desk, and he was telling me how much he had. It was, I think, 6 times more than me. And he said, it's thanks to you. Like, and he was like always like this, you know, in his
Damn.
office. And I was like, it kind of stuck me. And I was like, huh. So I did all the work. I was working really hard, but I'm making someone else richer, you know.
Oh.
So it was one thing, but at the same time, I was working in a big corporation, of course, a bank. It was the second biggest bank in Europe. And like I was feeling like I was a digit, like just a number. So
What was the name of the bank, by the way?
Société Générale. That
Okay.
means like general society, whatever. Like it's 200 years
Oh, wow,
old
okay.
bank. It was in Paris, and yeah. So I was like, I was feeling like a digit. So I think it's even more than the money. The part that I was like, something that really always shocked me is that even saying thank you was something that was really hard for the for the managers. Like it was like, okay, my +1 was okay, but the +2, +3, my goodness, it was like everything that we were doing was just normal.
It's
Kill
just
yourself,
meant to be
normal.
there.
And I remember that the guy that trained me, he died with cancer.
Oh,
Like it was really so fast, striking cancer.
yeah.
In a month we knew he had cancer. A month after
Damn.
he died. And this guy Sahil, he was working so hard for the bank. It was his mom's bank. Like the way he was
Oh,
working
wow.
and
Oh,
telling us,
okay.
you should kill yourself, blah blah blah, go for it, etc etc etc. And then when he died, like what, 2 weeks after, someone replaced him, and we never heard about him
And you just
again.
move on.
And I was like, okay, it really made me think. I was like, so he was working this hard, he died, and nothing changed. I mean,
Yeah.
like he was thinking like he was, a key in the bank, like, but he was not. He was just
Yeah.
a digit, literally. So I was like, are you doing something that you feel that is really fulfilling you?
Fulfilling?
Yeah,
Yeah,
fulfilling
yeah.
you. Like, really, like, are you doing it? And then I put all of this together, and I was like, nah, I'm not.
It's not fulfilling.
Yeah, nah. So I remember going to work. Like, then after all of this, I remember going to work, and then I started to have something in my chest, and then I was like, I cannot do it anymore. I'm gonna quit.
Wow.
So that's when I quit.
That's when you quit.
Yeah.
It's tough when you're, especially working in a large corporation, that you're just like another
Another
number.
No, but literally, like, I remember.
Especially in like banks
Yeah.
and stocks and all of that. When
Yeah.
you're doing stuff like that in a company, it's just like,
Just a number.
You're just
to
a
be honest,
number.
you're just a number. And I remember telling my +2, like my N+2. I don't know how you said it in English,
Yeah.
but whatever. The manager, the boss of my boss, like, don't call me by my name. Like, don't call me Mansour. Call me my code was A330288, and I was telling him, call me like this. Like it's
Yeah.
like it's you rather do it, because the day I'm not here, anyways, you're just gonna switch it and change it
yeah.
to another number. So yeah.
And then you decided like, okay, now I'm ready. Like, let me leave
Yeah.
and let me start my own thing.
Yeah, I didn't know what, but I
Okay.
knew that I wanted to do something. But anyways, as I told you before, even when I started working at the bank, I knew that my goal was to do my own thing. I didn't know what, but I knew that I wanted to do something.
Yeah.
So when the opportunity struck, I was like, I'm just gonna take it, of course.
Do you know what? This is actually really interesting because you said I'm either going to be working in a bank or an entrepreneur. So you had like 2 tick boxes. Like I was saying earlier, you did one of them and you're like, okay, this is not working out. I did everything I could.
Exactly.
This is literally what I was talking about just
but it's
before.
true. It's true. But it's
And
true.
then you
yeah.
decided like, okay, now I'm going to move on to this other thing that I wanted to do because this one didn't work out. The reason also why I'm giving this garden or flower example to talk about it is because I want the people watching I want you guys to be able to see and be aware of your environment and to be able to ask yourself the same questions that I'm asking you so you can understand what you want to do and how to do it,
That's a good
Because
process.
one thing I feel like we don't do enough of, and because of journaling I'm able to do it, is to ask yourself questions, right? And that takes me to the next part. You said you didn't know what you wanted to do, right? I feel like these days with social media, it's so tough and seeing people around you to know what you actually want to do, right? Because you're seeing all these people on social media doing all these amazing things and you're like, I want to do that. But it's like,
Yes.
is that what you really want to do?
Yeah.
So it's tough to differentiate the outside voices with your inside voice. How did you know that this business is what you want to do?
I didn't know, to be honest. And this, again, what I was telling you about the fact that
Yeah.
in life, you just gotta go sometimes. Like, you have to, you're gonna have opportunities. Opportunities are a train. They're gonna pass. The train is always passing. So either you walk in or you don't. You see the train going on. So I was like, okay, there is an opportunity. I'm just gonna take it because I know what I knew was that I wanted to be free and be an entrepreneur. But I didn't know what to do. So honestly, it was really the first opportunity that I had
Really?
to start a business. I said, I'm taking it.
Wow.
I'm just going to
okay.
take it. And then I'm going to figure out, do I like it? Do I not? If I don't like it, what do I do? And I knew I was going to learn during the process. And what I didn't know at the time was that what I was going to learn in the process of starting a business, starting something on my own, I was like, in a year, I was going to learn 100 times more than 5 years at the bank.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that at the time. But it made, like, you're talking about journaling. I started journaling at the time because
Wow.
I needed this time to, like, take a step backward and see what happened before,
Yeah.
So I learned so many things about myself, because I was saying at the beginning, like, when I started the business, it was so funny. Me and my partner, we were CEOs, but we were at the same time the cleaning man, the laundry boy, the everything. You had to do everything. Like, when you started a business, literally, we were doing everything. We were inventing, like, different services in the company, so that when someone called, I was picking up and giving it to my partner, saying, okay, this is the other service, but it was just next to me, like,
Wow.
like you
So
know?
you're like, hey, let me just speak to, why don't you just speak to my CFO? And it's
Exactly.
like,
it was
you're-
literally this.
wow, okay.
Let's talk to my manager, passing the phone to my partner.
Wow.
Like, and we were literally doing everything, but I didn't know what kind of business I wanted to do. I just wanted something better. And in life, I think sometimes you just have to, open the door and just walk through the journey, and then there's going to be different path and for you to choose.
Yeah, this is interesting because I was just going to say, like, what was the water, the thing that nurtured you and made you grow? And that ended up being like, starting it for yourself and doing all of these things and knowing that you have to do this.
Exactly.
I think the reason why I asked you that is also because, like, for me to do everything I'm doing now, whether it's being a well-being coordinator, whether it's doing a podcast, whether it's, doing all the social media things.
You inspired me. I want to say it, like, doing a podcast, to be honest. Honestly, Sahel, like,
Thanks,
I was
bro. I
saying it, and
appreciate
honestly,
that.
I was like, I'm going to start a podcast. Thanks to you. So, yeah. So,
I love that.
so for all of the French people that are going to watch my podcast, it's thanks to you.
I appreciate that. You know what's crazy? This is actually super crazy, okay? I did a podcast in this room where I was the guest.
Okay.
So
really?
I was sitting where you
really?
are.
Wow.
Yeah, and
started
the
as a
host was
guest.
sitting here.
Okay.
And right after I filmed that episode, when I was on the lift on my way down, I was like, I've been a guest on like 5 podcasts now. And being this one was the spark for me.
Amazing.
Being here made me realize
Amazing.
the host of the podcast that I was in here before, he made me realize that this is what I'm ready to do.
Amazing.
And now I'm sitting here with
this is
you.
amazing, and I'm telling
and
you
you're
the
telling
same.
me that I'm,
Yeah, exactly.
this is so crazy.
So yeah, the life cycle again.
Yeah. So for me, the reason why I was talking to you about like what made you realize that this is what you want to do is because some people just look at what social media is telling them, and some people look at what skills they have, right? And some people either put in a lot of hard work, or some people just look at what they're good at and their hobbies and stuff like that, right? We're talking about hard work versus talent.
Yes.
For me, what I realized was that I just love talking to people, and I love like human behavior, seeing what makes people the way they are. Okay. So for me, when I was in school, I was like, what am I going to do? I have no idea what I want to do. Then it was time for me to pick what subject I want to do for my higher education.
Okay.
And psychology was there. And the description the teacher that was teaching psychology had made for the topic, it was like everything about human behavior.
Okay.
So I was like, wow, this is exactly what I want to do.
Amazing.
And then I took something that was already a talent of mine and that I love doing. And then I basically nurtured myself through learning about psychology, doing it in school, doing it in university. And that's how I found out, like, this is what I want to do. And I think the important thing is knowing as well, like, what your talents are and knowing the hard work behind it. So, for example, for me, I was not talented in social media presence, all of this, but talking to people was always my thing.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, this is not, I'm looking at all these things I'm not, but then I'm looking at this one thing I am. So I'm like, let me just take this one thing and put like everything I have, all my hard work into it. And I think this is an important point because some people are talented, some people work hard, and then some people do both. And I feel like if you don't know what your talent is yet, just keep going and work hard, and you'll find out in that process what your talent is. If you're because the thing is, like, sometimes people are so talented. Like, I remember there were people in my university that were so talented, for example, in music, right? And this is interesting because I actually used to make music before, right? So for me, I wasn't talented in it, but I saw people do it on social media, and I was like, I love this. So I put in so much hard work. I built somewhat of a, an audience to my music. My first music video did like 16K on YouTube, and so people were liking it. I put in so much hard work, but the truth is, really, bro, I didn't have talent there. I swear to God, I had no talent there. But my friends that had talent in music didn't put in the hard work, and they never even got close to where I am at the time.
one thing that I hate, to be honest, is when I see a potential that is wasted.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate, like, this is the thing. Like, I'm pushing. Sometimes, like, some of my
Fear.
friends, they have a crazy potential, like way better than me, and they don't put the work into it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
whatever. That was just a
That was just, yeah. I think it's just fear, right? It's just like people
Yeah.
are afraid of failing. People are afraid of
Exactly.
insecurities. Like there's a lot of things that hold
Yeah.
people back.
Yeah, but then you're right. Like, the way you did it, like, you should just start things, and then you're gonna figure out, like, okay, what are my talents? If you don't know what they are, like, doing things are gonna make you try and be across so many different type of things, and then you're gonna learn. Okay, I'm good at it. Finally, I
Yeah.
didn't know, but I'm really good at it. Or this. Okay, this is really not for me. So yeah, it's super important to try things.
I want to ask you a question. When you were starting your first business, I'm sure like that brought some fear in you, right? Or did it not?
100 fears.
100
And you know what
fears.
was even, like, the biggest fear was that people were telling me that I was crazy. I remember this when I arrived. Okay, so I worked at the bank for 5 years, but first I started in my city in Lyon, where I was born. That is in the south of France. I'll say the south, whatever. Then I went to Paris, like, after 2.5 years. So when I was there, so when I arrived, I met so many people that were telling me, "Hey, I hate working at the bank. The moment I find an opportunity to do something else, I'll seize it and I will do it." When I did it, the same people that were telling me this, I remember a girl particularly that told me this. And when I told her, hey, I was so excited telling her, hey, I'm quitting, I'm launching my business. And she was like, are you crazy? And I
No
was
way.
like, but you're the one that told me when I arrived in Paris, hey, but I hate working at the bank. The first day I'm finding an opportunity to do something else,
I'm gonna leave.
I'm gonna leave. And then when she replied, I was like, huh, okay, like, am I crazy? Like, am I really crazy? So I really,
Yeah.
like, it really stuck into me, because I was like, you may be crazy. Finally, like, are you sure that you want to do what you're doing? Like, it might be a little bit foolish, because at the same time, I had a lot of perks working at the bank. Like, I
Yeah,
had
of
my
course.
apartment paid in Paris. I had the view on the Eiffel Tower. I was 20 again.
Insurance,
I was
all of that
between
stuff.
22 and 24. So there was something crazy. Like, Paris, one of the things is the real estate is super expensive. So I had an apartment that was paid. I had the view on the Eiffel Tower. It was
Wow.
something crazy. And I was leaving this to go back to my mom's house, living, like, in my kid's room, really, literally, because I
Yeah.
didn't have, like, I had to put all of my money in my business. So all of my friends and even family were telling me, are you sure what you're doing? Like, so it made me question it. I was like, you might be really crazy. But then I figured out that, yeah, you have to be a little bit crazy to start this kind of thing. Like, it's good craziness,
Because you're doing something that everyone else, that most people are not doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
So it seems crazy. Exactly.
seems
So
crazy.
and when I think about it now, and I'm seeing all of these successful entrepreneurs, I'm like, yeah, they were all crazy. Like, I don't know. I think Elon Musk, I think whatever they are,
In some ways they
yeah,
are.
they were really crazy to start this kind of things. Like, when no one were believing in it. And for me, it was even easier because I was not inventing anything new. But those guys that are creating new things, they're really crazy.
Yeah.
Because they're starting from nothing.
From nothing.
But still they're doing it, and sometimes they're successful, and this is crazy. So yeah, so I had a lot of fears, like a lot of fears.
How did you overcome them?
Again, my goal, I was always focusing on what I wanted at the end of the day. And, like, I remember a night when I was thinking about it, I was like, you're maybe making a mistake. And then I started, I love doing it. Like, I always take a notebook, and then I do, like, two sides, like the plus and the like the minus of doing things. And I started writing it, like, okay, what are the plus and what are the minus? And the plus were way more than the minus. And the thing was, one of the thing was, even if you fail at your business, you lose everything. You lose your money and whatever. You might, I didn't know at the time how much I would have learned, but you will learn something. You might learn something, and you still have your experience from the bank. And at the time in France, I even checked all of the banks. We had, I think, 13 banks that was doing exactly the same thing that I was doing. And I was like, you still have 12 of them where you can go and work, even if it's not working,
So
you
like,
still have,
even though there's like other businesses
Yeah.
kind of doing the same thing, that doesn't mean that mine's not going to be more
No.
successful.
I was not thinking like this. I was thinking, even if I quit the bank right now and what I'm doing is not working,
Oh, there'll
I
be
still
another
have
bank.
12 other
Okay.
banks where I can go
Okay.
and work in the worst case scenario, because
Yeah.
I didn't want it. But I was like, okay, if really it's not working, you will hate it, but you still have 12 other banks where you can go and knock at the door and say, hey, I still have my experience, so I can still go. So I was like, what are you gonna lose? Like, what is the worst? This is always what I'm thinking. What is gonna be the worst thing if you invest yourself in this thing, or you invest money in this thing? What is the worst?
I love that, because you're talking about like, and everyone's gonna say yes, of course you love it, because it's like writing on a piece of paper is like what I do. Like, I spend so much time doing that, right? But it makes so much sense. Like, any situation you're in, like, write down all the positives of things that could happen, and then all the negatives. But another thing that this is something you're reminding me of, and something that whenever I do something, whether it's like making an instant decision, like going to the gym, or podcasting, or something that I don't want, I always look at like pain and pleasure.
Okay.
Because pain is something we're trying to avoid, and pleasure is something that we want.
Yes.
Right? So I always think like, okay, what's the pain of not doing this? So for me, the pain of not doing this is that I'm never going to reach my goals. I'm never going to be this person that I want to. And what's the other side of the pain? That I'm going to have to put in effort and not be lazy to go to the gym. Or like, let's look at the pleasure, right? The pleasure of not starting a podcast, okay, where I have no idea what's actually going to happen. What's the pleasure of it? Okay, the pleasure that I want is that it's going to be comfortable. I can be, relaxed. There's not going to be a lot of planning. I don't have a lot of work to do. I just have a lot of free time to do whatever I want. That's one pleasure. Then the other pleasure is I'm going to achieve everything I've wanted to achieve, and everything that I think my purpose is, I can achieve it through this one thing. And so you like weigh the pleasure with another pleasure, and you're like, well, which pleasure feels better?
Best.
Or pain as well. Pain is like, okay, some views might not be good. It might take time. Although I have some insecurities, maybe they'll be triggered. Or the pain of never doing what I actually want to do. So it's like, you look at the pain, you look at the pleasure, and you're like, which pain is worse and which pleasure is worse?
I love it.
And then it's kind of similar to what you do. But it is true. Like, you should be able to look at all the different things and be able to plan it. You should look on paper. You should be able to decide.
But it's super interesting what you're saying. Like the fact, like, okay, because I never really thought about it this way, but thinking about the pain of not doing what you are supposed to do. I think this is super inspiring. And this is super motivating, because like if I put myself in the context, and if I have thought this at the, like when I started my business, would have been the pain of not starting your business and staying at the bank is going to be like, you're going to feel miserable, and you're never going to have you're going to regret your whole life not taking this opportunity.
Yeah.
When you had the chance to do it.
Exactly.
So this is super interesting. And for me, yes, paper, this is life.
Do you journal?
Honestly, I don't. To be honest, I don't journal. I don't journal. Oh, I came on the wrong podcast. Sorry, guys. I don't journal. but like I don't journal. But I do every night. I meditate, and then I
love that.
I look back
it's
on
like
the
music
day.
to my ears.
Exactly.
Meditation. Yeah.
So I really look back on my day. Like, okay, what happened? What could I do better? What could I have done better? What was the good part of the day? And yeah, so I do it, but on my mind. But what I write a lot is my goals, and what I should do, what I shouldn't do, etc. These kind of things.
Have you heard of the red car experiment?
Nope. What is that?
This is like, okay, think about if I ask you how many red cars you've seen, you're gonna like throughout the day. What are you gonna say?
I don't know.
You don't know. It could be whatever. But now that I've told you, like, I've asked you about this red car thing. Later on, you're going to go outside
and check all of them.
This is a red car. This is a red car. Or like, okay, think about this. What's your favorite car? What car do you want? Or what business do you want?
I want a Range Rover.
Range Rover. Yeah. How many Range Rovers do you see in the street?
Today, none of them.
None.
Today, but
usual?
But in usual,
my experiment just failed.
Like no. You know why? No. You know why? No, it works. You know why? Because when I was focused on having the car, because I was sometimes ago, but then I had a car for a whole month in Dubai, and people that don't know in Dubai, my goodness, it's so hard, like in my area to drive, to park, etc. I was like, you know what? I'm good with my Ubers for now on. Like I'm really good with it.
Yeah.
So I don't want a car. But when I was focusing on having a car, like you can ask my wife, it was crazy. I was seeing cars. I was seeing this car everywhere. Like literally. I was telling her, how? Another one. Hey, it's calling me. You know. So yes, I was seeing a lot. But it's just that now my mind is not on it. My mind is on making a lot of money.
Yeah.
So
okay. So when you're thinking about making a lot of money, do you just see so many options and places?
Exactly.
So this is the red car experiment. This is what I'm saying. When you write down your goals and you're constantly thinking about your goals and it's the only thing that's on your mind, maybe I don't believe some people don't believe in the law of attraction and manifesting and all of that, but just writing it, you're more aware of this thing you want. And so you see it more in your reality, and then you see more options.
This is true.
And I feel
agree.
like that's just science. That's not
I
like
agree.
spirituality or religion or anything. It's just
I
science,
don't know if
so-
it's just science, but yeah, I 100% agree that my brain indeed works like this.
You'll see things
Yeah,
related.
like when I think about something, when I'm really into something, then I'm gonna see everything that is related to it.
yeah.
But it works in the negative way too. Like when you're focusing on something negative,
Oh, you see it
you're
everywhere.
just gonna see it everywhere. So at the same time, you need to
Balance.
to balance and know how to control your mind. To not think about this kind of things.
I never even, I was just thinking about this example I was saying, but I never even thought about the negative thing. That's the thing. Sometimes your mind can be like the best thing ever,
Yes.
and sometimes your mind can be the worst thing ever, because it could
Worst
either
enemy.
be obsessed
true.
towards something positive, or it could be something, towards the negative side.
Exactly.
Okay, we talked about the seed, we talked about the soil, we talked about water, which is learning and growing throughout starting the business. Now I want to get to the sun. The sun gives direction to the plant of where to go, right? The plants, I don't know if you know about this, but plants, based on where the sun is, so if a plant is in a place where there's a lot of shade, but there's a lot of sun, it will choose to go towards the sun.
I love plants. I'm trying to grow them, but my goodness,
Yeah, they're
so
the
bad at it.
best.
I'm so bad at it, but I
Takes a
love
lot
them.
of work,
we have
bro.
a lot at home, but yeah.
So the reason why I talked about that is because I also have a lot of plants and I love them because they help you be present in the
Exactly.
moment, right? But what was the thing like? So once you're starting your business, you're doing all of this thing. One thing that I've learned a lot about, and one thing that I ask God for a lot, is confirmation. So it's like once I'm doing this, I'm like, God, I have no idea if this is the right thing. I have no idea if I should be doing this. Give me like some confirmation that I'm on the right path, I'm doing the right thing. When you were doing your business and you were detached, the first one, was there any point or moment where you realized this is exactly what I'm meant to do?
That's a good question. Did I think about it? Like I was so in the moment. I think I might have some, like a lot of them. Like, yeah, I don't honestly right now I have to think about it, but I know like I had a lot of moments where I was in a despair. Like I was like, it was the biggest mistake of my life. Like when you start a business, I think every entrepreneur go through this phase where just like, why did I do it? Like they were all right finally, like I shouldn't have started. It's a bad thing. It's too hard.
That sounds
It's gonna, you're all
very
gonna,
lonely.
yeah, you're gonna fail. And it's interesting that you're saying lonely. The fact that I had a partner was really good. It's like
okay.
it's like a marriage, because the like I remember some moments I was really down and he was there, and like on the contrary, like he was really down at some moment. He went to like a lot of things through it, and I was there, to help him. So yeah, so the fact that you're not alone sometimes helps a lot.
Yeah.
Because if I was really alone in those dark moments, I could have failed, like honestly. But the fact that I could speak to him and tell him, hey, I'm through this, he was like, oh, this is okay. Like I'm gonna handle it. No worries, So it was really, it makes it really easy. So yeah, one advice could be, when you start something that is really huge, maybe try to be with someone that is gonna help you,
Or I
and-
guess don't be afraid to ask for help, because I'm sure there's so many like people starting
Exactly.
something, but they don't have someone that
Yeah.
they're like, they trust enough to be a partner, right?
Exactly.
But I think the thing is that so many people, they feel like they can't go to people because they're a burden to ask for help.
Yeah.
But
Just ask.
But one thing I've realized recently is like, yeah, it's important to ask.
I had so many mentors, honestly, like through the path, but I never had thought that those guys would help me. And it's true. Like sometimes without even asking, they were like, "Oh, I saw what you're doing. Hey, do you need any help?" It was amazing, So yeah, ask for help. Don't hesitate to ask for help about it. But yeah, so I had a lot of dark moments that were really hard, and then asking help from God, and then boom, a door's open. You don't even know why.
Wow.
I have an example that
Okay.
comes in my mind actually.
Tell
when
me.
we pivoted the company, because when we started, like, okay, like let's do it fast, but we tried to copy Uber. We were like, okay, we want to be the French Uber. That's what we want to do. It was a huge mistake trying to copy a super corporation that has billions and billions and billions.
Yeah.
Because a thing that you might not know is that like they put a lot of money in marketing, etc., etc. So it was a big mistake. I'm not gonna elude about it because it's gonna take too long. But so we failed miserably. Like we did a lot of mistakes trying to do it. but it failed at the point where we were like, okay, it's not going to be sustainable. We have to stop. We literally were thinking, okay, we're going to close the company.
Wow.
It's like, it's not going to work. Boom, miserable moment. This time, me and my partner, both of us, like miserable at the time. We receive a call from a company called Capgemini. Capgemini, it's going to be in English, but it's a French company, whatever. They're international. They call us. They said, hey, we are organizing an event in maybe a month or something. And we were working with a taxi company, but they failed us. So we're searching for an emergency solution for this event that is going to be our 50 years in Lyon, the region where I'm from. And we need a trustful partner that can help us with this. But it's a huge thing. Can you do it? I have the call. I'm like, yes, of course. It's a hill. We had at the time.
Probably had no idea you could do it.
I swear to God, we might have maybe 2 cars at the time, and they needed like 50. Like, and I said, yes, we can. We received this call. I said, yes, we can. I swear to God, it was crazy. This month was crazy. Literally, I think I slept maybe 4 hours per night this whole month because I was trying to find some drivers that would trust us. Like, the problem was that we were a little company, and when we went to them, they would be like, why would we work with you? Because we don't know you. Like, we're not going to pay us, blah, blah, blah.
You don't have a reputation.
Exactly. You don't have a reputation, nothing. Yeah. So we had to convince them. It was hard. The event happens. Everything goes super well. Like, we had a lot of troubles. I'm not going to edit them again because it's going to take too long. But then it goes well. Boom. They're like, okay, we want to work with you, like, on the long term. Like, how can we do it? And then we're like, maybe this is what we should do. Like, we shouldn't copy Uber. We should do this. Organize event. And thanks to them today, this is why I told you, like, what we're doing is that we help businesses organize their events and all of this. And this
are they still your clients?
Yeah, they are still.
Wow, that's so cool.
And this is a key. Like, it was really a tipping point for us. Like, literally, like, as I'm telling you, the company would have failed.
Yeah.
If not this call,
it would have stopped.
Exactly.
So that's your son. That's your confirmation.
Exactly. And
son.
We were really like asking with my partner, okay, what should we do? Like, hey, praying and all of it, like, whatever you want, what should we do? Or are we just gonna fail and close the company? And then boom, this call happens.
Yeah.
And it changed it all, literally.
I feel like I feel like anything that is going to be successful or anything that is going to be like this business has been for you, anything that you work for, there has to be like some level of detachment to it, right? And it's like you're putting everything into it. And it's probably one of the most adventurous things you can do, start a business. I feel like nowadays everyone talks about being an entrepreneur, starting a business, but they don't know how much like goes into that process and how many difficulties you have and how many, every time you're doing something right, there's going to be 100 things making you feel like it's the wrong thing to do.
You know how I think about it as a baby, I think. Like, I don't have kids, but I'm seeing parents and I'm like, I don't know how it's going to be. But then you want to do it the best way possible. But of course, you're going to make so many mistakes. And this is the take that I have from all of the parents. They're like, no worries. You're going to do a lot of mistakes, but it's okay. He's still going to grow if you do some right things through the path. So it's exactly the same.
So we already talked about the difficulties, and this is perfect because it's going like so perfectly in order when I'm not trying to make it go. But so after the sun points you to the right direction, something plants need is air and wind. The reason why is because it's almost like a plant class at this point.
Yeah, like right now after that we're just gonna go and grow some plants. Yeah.
But so the reason why air is important for a plant is because, first of all, it compromises the life of a plant, but it forces the plant, when plants get air and they're about to, fall, it forces them to sink their roots deeper.
Okay.
Into the soil.
Interesting.
And make them thicker and longer.
Wow.
So that helps them get more water, helps them stay still and stand their ground when the air is coming. So it ends up being good for them. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because I'm taking this and I'm putting it into starting a business. And from a plant aspect, the thing that compromises the life of a plant and, the living conditions of a plant is air, but it helps it grow. And the difficulties that you go through in life are the same thing, right? But it depends on perspective and how you take it.
That's true.
So what we're like, you've already spoken about one of the difficulties, but what was the air in your journey as a plant? What was the thing that made you feel like I'm going to die, or this is just not going to work out, or this is a failure?
We had so many. I can tell, like the 6 years, even the 10 years, I'll say, of the business, like every morning, this is actually the fun fact about being an entrepreneur. Like you wake up, you never know how the day is going to be. Like a day of an entrepreneur is like,
Yeah.
like it goes up, down, up, down. Like at some point, at some moment, you could be like the happiest guy at 10 a.m. Then you're going to be the saddest guy at 2 because you
Yeah.
lost a big client or something, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, so you have so many things, but I'll say the biggest error was, yeah, so this mistake that we did, like trying to copy Uber. And then the second biggest mistake was maybe the software part. Like we
Okay.
tried to
I
have
think
it,
you've told me about this before.
yeah,
But yeah, say it again.
exactly.
Say it again.
We try like I think this is what you do when you're starting a business. Of course, you want the cheapest thing, and this is I think smart. This is the smart thing to do.
Yeah.
Like you should have the best quality for the best price. But I think at the time we were not even thinking quality. We're just thinking price because we didn't have a lot of money. Of course, so we were like, okay, we need to do we need to do the software the cheapest possible. So we've been to China, we tried, failed. We've tried India, failed because again,
Wow.
like they don't even speak the same language, you know. So trying to explain to them what we wanted to do, and we kind of underestimated the difficulty of the software. Like everything that we tried to implement into it, we kind of underestimated. We were like, oh, it's just an app, you know, but it's not just an app. It's a whole thing. Like you have a back office, front office, because you need to make everything work, like through the customers, the drivers, everybody has to go through the same thing, you know. So it's really big, but we really underestimated it. So we went to pay really cheap, and American says cheap is expensive. And this is the biggest lesson I've
Wow.
got from this, you know, like cheap is expensive, honestly, because we lost like months, if not years, because of that. And a lot of money at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, we had to pay the real price to have what we wanted, you know. So that was the error. Like, and we decided at this point, and this is what I do until now, with my partner, like when we do something, we really try to have the best quality first quality, then price. Like
Hmm.
how is it gonna work? Is it gonna be effective? Because time is money, you know, and if you lose time, you lose even more money at the end of the day. So when you invest money in something that is not gonna work, you lost both. So it's compounding because you put money into it, you lost time.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you lost like double or triple or 10 times.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's gonna be I think the biggest win that we
I
have.
love that. Cheap is expensive because
Yeah.
it's like, imagine getting a piece of clothing or a car or anything like that. If you pay like a really cheap price for it, then the chances are at some point it's gonna break or you're
Of
gonna have it
course.
tear. But
Yeah.
if you like spend a good amount of money getting something and you're making sure it's the right quality, it's gonna probably last longer and stuff like that. I think there are so many like lessons from that one quote itself, and I think because this is really inspirational for me to hear, because sometimes I just try to get everything done quick and stuff, but the thing is, the faster something comes, the quicker sometimes it's gonna go.
It's true, Sahel,
right?
honestly. And again, I'm still, because again, I think it's a human being thing. Like we just want to have the quickest, like, and we can see it right now, like with the social network and all. We have short attention span and all.
Yeah.
Like we want things quick.
Especially in Dubai, everything
Exactly,
comes so
like
quick.
bam, 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 and you see things and you're like, I want this, no. But sometimes you just have to take a break, breathe a little bit, and think, okay, if this is so nice, it's gonna take time. You cannot have it. Like for example, we invested in an apartment built so fast, and you can
Wow.
see that it's really bad,
Yeah.
honestly, you know. So I'd rather have something that is built like that takes the time that is needed.
This is funny
And then-
because I wonder if you were thinking about this now for you, because you recently got something, right?
Exactly.
And it took like a year or 2 years for it to come.
But then finally I learned from my mistake. Like the second apartment that I just bought one recently, like in December. I was like, okay, what mistake did I do on the first property that I bought in Dubai? So now I'm not gonna do the same mistake. You know. So I know that it's gonna take time, but it's okay. I want it to take time, actually, like the right time, you know, that is needed to do things right. So yeah, so time is important, and sometimes money. But again, don't think like money means quality. This is not true, because at the same time in Dubai, like mostly, you can sometimes pay 10 times the real price for something because it looks bright and shiny and golden because everything is gold here. But then it's like when you scratch it, it's
Yeah, it's just
really bad.
nice on the surface.
Exactly, it's
but
really
behind
bad.
it's
So
like
so
bad.
you have to think about the ratio between quality and price. But quality is more important than price. That's what I'm saying. Like go for quality first, rather than something that is really cheap that is not gonna last. But at the same time, think about the price at the end of the day. Like, okay, is the price really worth it? What I'm having. So yeah.
I feel like that's just like because you're entrepreneur mindset.
Yeah.
Entrepreneur mindset. 'cause-
Yeah, I didn't even say it. Like, but
Right?
the name of the channel is Entrepreneur Mindset.
Yeah, so it's like even this is a mindset. It's like how you handle one situation is how you handle every situation, right?
I try to.
So it's
I try to.
yeah.
And again, success is not earned. Like every day you have to wake up and go and chase. Like it because everything you're doing in your life, that you still like you could go to the gym. You're really good at it, but you know that if you let it go for a while, then it's gonna get lost. Like you never earn it, and it's done. In life you still have to. So why I'm saying that is that even if I know all of this mindset, sometimes I still have to tell myself, hey, calm down, boy, and remember the lessons, because as a human being, again, it's really easy to go on the wrong path, the easiest one. So yeah, you have to keep reminding yourself, and it's normal. That's what I want to tell people. We're not superhuman like when we're doing things. It's just that it's normal that it's hard, and we find it hard, and we struggle, and we will have failures, but just accept it, and then it's gonna work.
Move on.
Yeah.
Guys, our recording had to end early last week, so we came next week, and we tried to make it seem like it was one. So we're wearing the same clothes, but I didn't bring my laptop, and now. Anyways, okay.
And anyways, you're just gonna figure out, like I was saying, I have a pimple, or like that just appeared. So
Do you know what's funny?
it's just
Last
gonna
time I got
be-
a pimple as
Really?
well, so I was like,
So,
okay.
whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we have to say that it was so interesting
Yeah.
that we wanted to make it longer, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, because we kind of were in a really good discussion.
Yeah.
And then we had to end it. So
Honestly, when Yasmin told us that we have to finish, in that moment, I was like, I'm just about to get started.
yeah.
I just felt like I'm in the zone right
That's
now.
true.
So, okay, so I wanted to ask you, bro, after everything that we've already spoken about, your YouTube, so you've done your business, you have your YouTube channel, it's Entrepreneurial Mindset, right? What is the entrepreneurial mindset? Is it like is it certain habits? Is it certain beliefs? Is it a routine that you have? Or what is the entrepreneurial mindset?
That's a good question. I'll just say like now in an hour to get in the zone. So when we started like in an hour, and I have to say that I'm fasting, so no
Okay,
coffee
fair.
this morning. So
Me too.
So I might be like a different guy from
Yeah.
last time.
Fine. Me too. I haven't had coffee either.
Okay, very good. So the entrepreneur mindset for me is a state of mind where you want to try, you agree to try new things, and you accept failure, as we said last time. When I said you have to have the entrepreneur mindset to start, is what we thought about, like what we talked about, the fact that you can quit your job when you're not feeling good and you're ready to take risk. You're ready to go forward in your life, to move forward, and not being frozen by the fear of like having like the fear of failure. Actually, it's the whole thing. I was talking to a guy yesterday. It's funny because I went to visit my barber yesterday. And
Just to visit, just to say hi?
No, because so I was there actually, like in the area, and I was like, you know what? Let's just get a haircut. But you guys
got it.
cannot see it because I still have my cap, whatever. So that would have been something that would have changed too. And the guy told me that I didn't know that he was the owner of the place, actually, because yesterday we really talked, and he asked me like, hey, what do you do again? Like, you're in a business, right? I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay, so I never told you because I'm scared to tell people most of the time that I'm the owner of the place, all
Yeah.
of it, because
Where is this place, by the way?
it's in Al Basha.
Oh, because I have a place where I go for my haircut, and the
Yes.
guy that cuts my hair is also the owner.
Oh, really? Wow.
So it's like, damn, maybe we
Wow.
go to the same place.
Yeah. No, it's in Al Basha. I don't know you.
It's in JLT.
Okay, so meet in Al
Yeah,
Basha,
yeah.
and the guy is the owner, and like we were talking about this, like the entrepreneur mindset. Actually, I was telling him about it because he was telling me so he's African, he's from Ghana, and he was telling me that most of the time he doesn't tell people that he's the owner because like in the community they will have they will see him as something, they will just say, okay, you're the owner, so you have money, so blah blah blah, so I might not have to pay, and this kind of things. And I was telling him, yeah, this is sad that we have to reach this point, where you have to hide what you did in your life. And I was telling him that the problem was the community that doesn't have the entrepreneurial mindset, actually. Because I was telling him that I was super proud, because most of the time when I see like Africans in Dubai, and actually all over the world, most of them are not businessmen. Like when they go abroad is to work for someone, and I was super proud of him, because it was the second time I met a Ghanaian, one in the Philippines. Same story, like he was the owner of the business. And I was telling him that, yeah, we don't have the entrepreneurial mindset, because we do not want to take the risk, actually. So yeah, for me, this is the
entrepreneurial mindset. The word that comes in my mind is detachment. So is it just all about putting in all your effort, but at the same time still being detached?
You have to accept, actually. Accept. I would say acceptance of taking a path that is unpaved. You're gonna have bumps. It's gonna be a new road, actually. So you have to accept that this is a road that is not taken by most people, but you still have to take it. So you have to accept. Maybe detachment, yes.
Do you know what? This is something that I'm starting to learn about now, right? Because I'm reading this book called The Power of Now. And before I was reading a book called The Untethered Soul. Both of the books basically talk about being present, and both of the books talk about being present and being able to be aware of your ego and seeing how it affects your daily life. Okay? And so what this is reminding me of is, why do we feel as a human race, every individual, that the idea that we have in our head of the journey that we're going to be on is going to be the actual journey? Like, there are thousands of possibilities that can happen, right?
That's true.
Anything can change at any moment in your life.
It's
and
true.
You know from the past that everything that's happened to you where you are now is not what you thought you were going to be in the...
Literally.
So why do we, when we create a plan, think that it's going to go our way? And if it doesn't, we're like, oh, this is bad.
It's so bad.
I don't get it. And I think it's because of that ego, because it lives on narratives of how the past has been, how the future has been. It likes to create that story. I think it's just that.
Yeah, we need stability, I guess, and we want to be in control of our lives when we're not most of the time. I mean, like, what is an accident? An accident is something that you cannot anticipate that happens, and literally, like, a lot of accidents happens to you every day. I mean, there is many things. I came here, the elevator, one of them was not working. This is kind of an accident. I couldn't control it, so I lost time. Like, I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna be there at this time, but finally had to wait 7 minutes more than what I expected. But this is life. Like, if you're gonna be upset or angry or whatever because you cannot control everything, of course, then it's gonna be harder for you. And maybe it's ego. I don't know. I never really thought about it this way, but might be.
Yeah. I spoke about this in another podcast, but there's this quote that I saw recently online, and it says, when humans make plans, God laughs.
Oh, yeah.
And I think this relates because I think whenever you have like any type of goal, it's like you have to walk into that goal knowing, hey, I'm going to give this is my idea, right? It's like, it's almost like you're creating like a pitch, like you're pitching for something, and you're like, you do all of these things, you create this pitch, and you're like, okay, God, this is my pitch for you. And then you're like, okay, this is how I want it. And now it's time for you. And you have to be super aware to see the signs, be aware for signs.
Yeah. It make me think about a quote about entrepreneur mindset that is, okay, in English, it's going to be, you have to go, I guess, through failures and failure like 1,000 times. And like, success is going through failures and not losing your enthusiasm. And I think literally this is it. Like, you have to go through all of these kind of things that you don't control. You give your plan to God. Okay, I accept, like, whatever you're gonna put me in, and I'm just gonna be happy about it. I'm just gonna take it, like, whatever it is. I'm just gonna take it, and I'm not gonna be miserable. I'm not gonna quit because it's not happening the way I want it to happen. Because there is bumps again, and yeah, I'm just gonna be enthusiastic and positive about it, and then I'm pretty sure that the outcome is going to be positive as well. Because if there is bumps, means that the road is new and that what you're going to have is worth it, at the end of the road.
Yeah.
So you still have to go,
Yeah. It's about being present almost. Like you're just being present to accept everything that's there rather than, thinking too much into the future and the past.
Exactly. Thinking about the goal. Like you have to enjoy the journey, not the
destination.
Exactly, the destination. Like the journey has to be nice, because if you're only thinking about the destination and you never reach it, as you just said, sometimes you just like there is 2,000 or 3,000 different outcomes that are possible. If you're only thinking about one, and then you're only focusing on this outcome, and never happens, never gonna be happy. But if you focus on the journey, again, we're talking about sports last time. Like again, like I never reached my goals that I had for 15 years, literally. But I appreciate the journey,
Yeah.
I appreciate every little steps that I'm taking
to get there.
Exactly. Like when I get, when I gain 100 grams, I'm super happy. I'm super excited. I'm like, oh, hey, I really did it. Okay, I can lose 300 like the day after that, but
you still won that.
Exactly. I'm still gonna be happy, about what I did. And once I knew that I could do it, like even the 100 grams, like if you can do 100, you can do 10 kilos, you can do,
Yeah.
like
it's just a matter of doing what you're already doing, but consistently.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And being positive.
Yeah, this is reminding me of have you heard of the story behind... Actually, no, I'm just going to tell it to you. So there's this story about this guy, and he's like the prince, okay? And his parents, they give him a ring. And inside of the ring, there's a small paper. And they're like, when we die, we want you to take this ring and write 4 letters on it and keep it with you. And it's going to be the thing that gives you hope all the time.
Okay.
So at some point, the parents die. And he's like, I can't think of the 4 letters. I'm going to go to the people in my kingdom and ask them, right? So he goes to the best scholars in the country. He goes to, the people that are earning the most money in the country. And it turns out that actually no one knows how to do it, because they're writing poems, they're writing articles, all of this. But 4 letters to give you that much hope through like the toughest times, they're like, I don't know what to write. Then he goes to like one of the people that's like his right-hand man, like in the story they call him the servant, but I don't really like that word.
Yeah,
but it's the guy like right next to him, and the guy's like, okay, I'm gonna write it for you. So he writes in the slip, he puts in the ring, and okay, done. One day the prince's kingdom is under attack. Okay, and that prince, who's now the king because his parents died, that king, he goes running out into the fields with a horse. Okay, so he goes riding the horse into the fields, and basically he's running for his life, and people are after him. Okay. He feels like there's no way he's going to stay alive, okay? And he reaches like the end of a mountain, okay? So he's at the end of a mountain. There's no way to go forward, and people are coming and he can hear voices. Then he remembers, oh, let me look at my ring. And it's a slip just like this, okay? He takes the slip off and it says, this too shall pass, right? He keeps saying it. At some point, the people just leave. So he goes back to the castle, and everyone thought he was dead. So everyone's celebrating now. They're like, oh my God, he's alive. This is amazing, blah, blah, blah. So they have a dinner, right?
Okay.
And the dinner has this huge table with like 20, 30 people, like the top people in the castle. And he has the servant next to him, and he's like, by the way, I looked at your quote and it gave me so much hope at the time. I'm so happy. And he's like, this too shall pass. He's like, but why would I want this moment to pass? This is such a good moment. He's like, the quote that I wrote in that slip of paper, it's not only for the bad times, but it's also for the good times. And so the point is, when you're going through a bad time, always remember that at some point, that moment is going to pass. But also, when you're going through a really good time, remember that at some point, that good moment is also going to pass. So be present throughout all the good moments, and also remember and reinforce to yourself that you're going to get out of that bad moments. And it's just accepting and learning all of it and having fun through all of it.
Is it a book?
No, it's just like a fable.
Okay.
But there should be a book on it. I'm sure there's so many fables about this. And
super interesting.
we talked about it earlier with the farmer, right?
Yeah.
With the farmer. And now we're talking about it again with this. And I guess just being present is the most important thing. And honestly, this is something I've done. And I want to ask you about this. Something that has had probably the biggest and most profound impact in my life is spending time in solitude. And I don't know if this is something you do, if there's a certain place you go throughout the day where you just go read or spend time by yourself, but often the answers and everything you need is already within you, but we always look for it on the outside.
It's true.
Right?
It's true.
And I'm going to give another story. I'm getting too preachy now. This will be
Let's
the
go.
last one.
Let's go.
This will be the last one. But I was reading about this recently because I'm reading a book called The Power of Now, right? And
I've heard of it.
the first page of this book has this story, okay? So there's this homeless guy, and he's just sitting on the ground, and there's a bunch of people passing by. So he's like, he has a cap outside, and he's like, can you spare some change for me? And the stranger is like, honestly, I have nothing to give you. But what's that box you're sitting on? What's inside that box? I'm just curious. And he's like, I've been sitting on this box for 20 years. There's nothing inside of it. I don't even want to look at it. I just need money. Give me money or get out, basically. And the guy's like, no, listen, just look inside the box. I want to know what's inside of it. Anyways, after some like talking, he opens the box and there's like gold in it. So the moral of the story is that a lot of the times we keep seeking everything, whether it's validation or, money, materialism, everything on the outside. But realistically, everything is on the inside, which includes God. There's this quote that says, the poorest men beg outside of the temple. The richest men beg inside of the temple. Right? And it's so profound, that one statement, because really everything is within you.
It's true. Most of the time. It's true. I spend a lot of time like alone, and this is honestly, I feel like nowadays, I don't know if it's nowadays, to be honest. Like, I don't know. It might have been like this before, even before internet and TV and whatever. I don't know how it was like with our parents and these kind of things. But I feel like I'm kind of an outcast because I love being alone, and I feel like around me, this is something that is super weird. Like, you have to be all the time with people and doing things. If you're not, it means that you're unhappy. And I'm trying to tell everyone, like, it works for me, so I don't know how it is for other people, but I'm trying to tell everyone that the moments that I'm, like, I will enjoy. Again, it's going to be about enjoying the moment. And you're right about that. Like, I will super enjoy when I'm with a lot of people. Like, as you know me, like, I love being around people. But most of the time, the moment that I take leaps in my life, like, and that I have happiest moments is when I'm alone, thinking about myself, doing introspections. And I love it. And because I feel like this is when I grow most of the time, because when I'm with people, like, I don't have time to think, about what I'm doing, about this kind of things. But when I'm alone, then I have time to think, okay, how was the day? What did you do? What can you do better next time? This kind of things, And we were talking about it last time. You journal a lot. I don't. But my journaling is my meditation.
Right.
So I do it. Yeah. So I do it every morning and every night. Like, when I go to sleep, I'm like, okay, how was the day? Okay, what was good? And then this is my thing. I really want to go to bed and falling asleep happy, content about the day. Like, whatever happened, I want to be like sleeping, smiling. Like, this is my goal. So I'm thinking, okay, what went bad? Because of course there is always bad things, but what went good, and what can you be grateful about, And it takes time, because I think most of people, like, I see it, most of like my surroundings, they will go to sleep with their phone on. Like, I don't sleep with my phone in my room. It's not even in my room now. Wow. And yeah, I'm just gonna try to focus on myself, And again, this is the moments where I really feel like I take like big leaps in my life, So yeah, I think being alone is really, really important if you want to progress. And I feel like this is what I'm telling you. I don't know how it was before, but I feel like nowadays with internet and all of it, attention span going super down. And I feel like
we're content creators, we know that.
Exactly. It's super hard. It's true. Like, honestly, like I have to remind myself, like, when I'm working, for example, I don't know if everybody does it, but I have 20 tabs open, and I'm trying to do all the things at once at the same time. And this is a huge mistake, like, for example, when my page is charging, I want to go to another one, because I don't want to wait for the page to charge. And this is bad. Like, that I cannot even focus and waiting for this page to open, So I have to work on it. But at some point, I know that I have to disconnect. Like,
okay.
I mean, when I go to bed, I'm just not taking any electronics with me, you know. I might get a book,
'Cause
maybe.
it's a distraction.
It is a huge one, you know. So again, this thing is a huge opportunity, a huge like many opportunities. You can do a lot of things, but at the same time, it could be your biggest prison, you know. So yeah. So I think thinking about being alone, when you're with this, you're not alone. Literally, you're
Yeah.
really not alone. Like you can think, okay, I'm alone with my phone, but you're not, because then your brain is constantly thinking about what is happening inside, you know, and not what is happening inside you. That is the most important.
Yeah.
The way you react to things, you know.
Do you think it's because of like beliefs? Like, can you tell me one Disney movie or movie that you've watched as a kid, okay, as a child, during your younger years, where people are happy when they're just alone?
No.
Because I can't think
But
of
it's
one.
true. Like, this is a good question. It's a good question.
Like,
I'm thinking about, like, my favorite Disney movie is The Lion King. I'm thinking about Simba. At some point, he was alone with his dad. He was praying to God and he saw his dad. Maybe
Yeah.
that's the only
Maybe that's the
moment.
only time.
Maybe that's and he was not even alone. Like, he was not
Yeah.
alone. Like, when you think about it, he was still with his dad.
yeah, I
So,
think
yeah.
it's just beliefs, bro. I think when you're
Maybe.
younger, like people just make it seem like you can't be happy unless you're with people, whether that's friends, family, or a romantic partner.
Yeah.
But you can find time. And what you said, and you said it so perfectly, this is like life coaching 101, is when you look at it as an opportunity to grow. Because realistically, everyone spends time alone.
Yeah,
you could be in a group of like 100 people but still feel alone.
Exactly.
Right? But what makes that time alone from loneliness, which is the weakness of being alone, to solitude, which is the strength of being alone, is a shift in perspective. So when you change your perspective and you look at that time alone as a way to grow, that's when it becomes solitude. And that's exactly what you're talking about. So I spend a lot of time alone, but I refuse to spend time being lonely. And that, for me, that's the difference.
That's really huge what you're saying, but it's hard at the same time. Like,
So
I want to
hard.
admit, like I admit that it's hard. Sometimes, you know, like I'm gonna go on my balcony. Like, this is what I do. Like, okay, my routine is in the morning. Like, and again, it goes with the screens. Like, I'm forbidding myself to touch any screen in the first 30 minutes of my day. Like, so I'll wake up. I will meditate in the bed maybe for 10 minutes and then stretch and all of it. Then I will go take a coffee first and on the balcony and then think. But sometimes, like, I just find myself, you know, going again, like not in a solitude, but in a loneliness state. But then you have to refocus and then thinking, okay, like, what are you doing? What are you learning about yourself? This kind of things, you know. So, but it's hard. That's what I'm saying, you know. It's really hard. But yeah, the shift is important, and the difference between the two are super important.
It's like your mind that takes you to the most horrible places, but then your mind that brings you out and takes you to the best places as well.
Yeah.
Or is it your mind when you're being present? Like when those insights come to you, do you think that's your mind, or is it just being present when you're detached from that mind and it's like God or the universe?
That's a good question. Sahel.
What do you think?
Never thought about it. Yeah. Might be God that is helping you, because then you're listening. You're ready to listen, you know, because most of the time there is this white noise that is in, you know, your ear, and you don't hear anything because you're too focused on something else. But it's true. Maybe sometimes when you just sit there and like, okay, I'm ready in the moment again, maybe then you can hear what God has for you. So yeah,
it's interesting because in Islam and also in the Baha'i faith, there's this I don't know where I read it, but they say that prayer is when you it's like picking up the phone and calling God, right? Prayer is when you call God and you're speaking to him, but meditation is when you allow God to speak back to you.
Exactly.
Because some of us just say our prayers and then we say our prayers and then we're out. But it's like, bro, imagine picking up the phone and you just talk to people
and then
you're
hang
like, okay, I'm done, bye.
And then you hang up.
That's not how it works, bro. That's not how it works.
You have to listen.
Yeah, so I guess meditation is the listening part.
Yeah.
And when you just have that presence, that state of mind, that's what it is. Yeah. Are there any other habits you have?
So I'm reading Atomic Habits. So of course I have a lot of habits that I'm trying to implement.
So reading is a habit then?
Yeah, reading is a habit. And actually, I was talking about it. Like what I like in the Baha'i faith is that you guys have this book called Something of Habits, like that you learn like when you're kids.
Wow.
And I didn't know about it. Like Melody told me about it. And I really love it because I never learned about habits in my whole life. Like nobody told me, okay, at school they're gonna tell you, I don't know, don't do this or don't do that, but they're never gonna explain
Why?
like why you have to do it and how you have to implement it in your life. You know, they're just gonna tell you this is bad, this is good, just do that, don't do that. And then like reading this book was really a shift in my mind. I really learned a lot thanks to this book. Thanks to this book, because you learn what is a habit, how does it work, how you can profit from it, and how you can like make it a disaster when you have a bad habit. And yeah, when you break it out, you're like, okay, I wanna have good habits. But then it's a process. It takes time, of course. Everything that is good takes time. But then, for example, the thing that I love is that we all have things that we have to do that we hate doing, right? So they say if you wanna make it a good habit, put it together with something that you love doing, and then you do the thing that you hate before doing the thing that you love, and you put it together so that your brain is gonna be like, okay, it's not that bad finally, because then I get to do what I love. So this thing is part of the thing that I love, you know, and then it makes it easier.
And then what if you don't do the thing you love until you get to do the thing you hate?
But yeah, this is the thing actually. Like you do the thing you like, yeah.
Wow, okay.
So yeah, so habits are super important, because then when you do something and in a auto mode, then if it's a good thing for you, then you're just gonna grow, you know, and the interests are gonna compound in a way. Again, if we take the sport habits, for example, you go to the gym every 2 days, every other day, like in a way, interests are gonna compound. You know, it's going to be hard the first day, a little bit less the second day, etc. But then if you break the habit at some point, it's going to be again.
Yeah.
Like it was at first, you know, like super hard. But then it's going to be easy at some point. So yeah, so habits, like the habits that I have is like in the morning, I'm telling you, taking 30 minutes for myself. And this is the thing again, most of the time we don't think about ourselves. You know, we're just like, okay, life is happening. I'm never going to take this break that is going to allow me to have time to think about myself and this kind of thing. So yeah, so 30 minutes, I don't do anything, just me and my coffee and seeing what is happening, taking some sun. This is the first thing first, then emails for 30 minutes in the morning, and then I go to work. So about working habits, to be honest, my life is a mess, because I'm telling you, like I told you last time, like I have this thing called the shiny object effect. Like I'm doing many things at the same time. So this is a bad thing. Don't do that. Literally, like focus on one task at the time. Really,
get it done. Yeah.
This is super important. But I kind of got used to it, because when you start your business, as I was telling you last time, like you're the janitor and you're
you have to multitask.
You have to do
100%.
everything at the same time. So I just kind of got used to it for 10 years now, and I'm just like, this is just my life. So I just accept it.
It became a habit.
Exactly. It's a habit. Exactly. So when I don't do it, like I feel like something is wrong, you know, like when I don't work like this. But if you really want to get something done effectively, maybe try to focus on it. Can you explain me your tattoos? Sahel? Like I like this one, the moon.
Okay, so this is Tears, Blood and Sweat. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Okay.
It's just so when I first started going to the gym, I just thought like there are times when I've bled in the gym, right? There are times that I've sweat in the gym, of course. Come on now. And then there are times when I've cried in the gym as well. And so I remember when I went through my first fitness transformation journey, I remember being like 12 or 13, and I used to get bullied for being fat. And I was like, I think 97 kgs at the time. At 12 or 13, that's wild.
Wow, okay.
I once went to a water park and I had really long hair. So my hair would go up to here. This is actually very embarrassing. But the person that works at the water park thought I was a girl.
Wow, okay.
I swear to God. And it's bad. So I was really chubby, and I went from 97 to 62.
But what did you do? Like you decided it at this time?
At 12 or 13.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I was tired of getting bullied, bro.
Okay.
I'm like, something needs to change. And honestly, I just wanted girls.
Okay. Okay.
You're a 12, 13-year-old guy. That's the truth.
Okay.
All the inspirational part.
So then this
like
is a good
truth,
motivation.
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I remember. So I remember like remembering that time at the gym, and then I realized when I got this tattoo when I was 18, and I just realized like, if you want something so bad, you can get it, but you have to put your blood, sweat, and tears into it. Like you really got to put in everything you have.
That's right.
And then the earth the sun, the moon, I don't know if you guys can see it, are again tattoos I got when I was 18. So I was in a relationship with this girl where her parents were racist, and they were like, you will never marry our daughter because you're Indian and you're brown and we're white. So it was like this whole thing, and for like a while there was so much racism in that relationship, and it really affected me negatively because I'm
Wow.
like, I can't control the fact that I'm brown.
How old were you at the time?
16.
Wow.
16, and that was like my first time where people looked at me as like someone lower
Okay.
for being brown, and I'm
Okay.
like,
Wow.
yeah, so that was tough. So when I was 18 and I healed from all of that and I started to find spirituality a little bit, I got this tattoo because we're all in one earth. We all see the same sun and moon, which means we're all equal in the eyes of God. So whether you're brown or black or, you know, white,
Whatever,
like
yeah.
it doesn't matter. Like people aren't currency,
Yeah.
you know?
You had to
So
have a reminder.
Yeah, that's the point of these tattoos.
Amazing.
Thanks for asking though. I feel like no one usually asks.
No, but I never saw them, and I was like, "Huh, is this a moon?" Because I love the moon tattoo, and yeah, I really
Yeah.
love them.
I got
I really love them.
these, this, that
The
one.
tiger.
Alone, the word alone.
Oh,
Damn, I completely forgot about this. But
so
yeah,
you
the
can
word
show
alone.
this one then.
Because spending time alone, I don't know if you guys can see it. But yeah, we're just talking about being alone. So yeah, spending time alone. Like this is something I found when I was 18. That time in solitude, being alone is so important.
And what does this mean?
This was again when I went through that journey when I was like chubby. There were two journeys actually. So I got this when I was 16. It's probably this is the first tattoo I got. And there were two like huge things in my life.
It didn't hurt.
I was in a room with lots of women and a tattoo artist.
Oh, okay, so you
So
had
as
to
a
be
16-year-old,
tough.
I'm
You had
like,
to be tough.
let's film it. I'm a man. I'm
You had to
macho.
be tough.
Nothing hurts me. But I'm not gonna lie, I almost cried for real. It was bad.
But your parents were pretty open-minded, you know, to
My
let
parents
you do.
didn't know.
Oh wow!
know.
But like, okay, you do a secret tattoo on your arm. Like, I mean, what's the like?
I know.
Like,
I
okay, I'm
know,
gonna
I
hide
know.
it. They're never gonna figure it out.
This is the funny thing. My mom and dad went for a holiday, and my mom wanted to get a tattoo, but she wanted to get it in Dubai.
Okay.
So I was like, hey, mom, by the way, do you have any friends that do tattoos in Dubai? And she's like, yes, I have this one guy that works in my company, and he has a secret tattoo thing in his house.
Okay.
And I'm like, what's his name? Like, what's his number? I'd love to just talk to him about his journey.
Oh.
Kind of like this, but I was dying. And then basically I told the guy, like, hey.
So you went to her friend and you wanted to hide it.
Without her knowing, and she was
Okay.
traveling.
Wow.
So when she came back, she's like, oh my God, how the hell did you get this? Like, where did you do this? And I'm like,
Your friend.
your friend. You gave me the
Thank
number.
you.
You told me
Thank you.
his name. Thanks.
Thank you for being my plug.
Yeah. And my dad got so mad. But essentially, okay, so,
Okay.
but you know what? I waited 8 months to get this. This is basically the foundation, the circle where everything starts. Okay, this is
Okay.
my past, this is my future. And damn, I really don't think you guys can see this, but the first triangle was the first journey I went through, which was the fitness journey. And then the second one was about my grades. Because my parents had gone to a parent-teacher meeting, and they were basically telling my parents, your son is going to fail. Like, he's going to be held behind.
Okay.
His grades are E, and some of them are U's. I was so bad at studies. After I
Tattoo?
became fit, right, the first fitness journey,
It became better.
I started getting girls, I started going parties, and like my whole life turned around, and I'm like, I don't care about the world right now. I just want to be popular.
But did it get better? The grades or not at all?
Yeah.
At some
So
point?
the grades got better. I spent
Okay.
again this time in solitude where I'm like blood, sweat, and tears, right? I put the blood, sweat, and tears. I went from like getting E's and U's and D's to getting like A's and B's, and like I did amazing. So that's not how
the table turned.
the table turned. It got bad at some point again, but it turned for that for that time.
It's life. Life
It's
is flipping,
life.
you know?
So the thing here is it says fantasy is greater than reality. So basically what it means is that if you have any like dreams, if you have any goals and you fantasize about it, don't think that just because you're in this world that you can't achieve what you're dreaming about. And these are two examples of fitness and fitness and studying. But now I'm just thinking about it. I should probably have left more space because there's a bunch of more things, and there's much of more things I would want to add.
They're happening. So you have space, but your tattoos are podcast like as their own, you know, because it's super
Yeah.
interesting what you're saying. Like fantasy is better than reality. I was telling last time, like my friends, guys, why did you stop dreaming? I was kind of, no, honestly, I was kind of shocked because I saw a friend of mine that I didn't see for, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 years. And he was super ambitious at the time, So I saw him and I was like, wow, I'm super excited. What's up? Like, what is new? What are you doing right now? And it was just so, pessimistic. He was just so, and he was like, life happened, man. Like, I have 2 kids now. Life is hard. I have to pay for them. Blah 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 blah. I was like, why you don't do that? And I was like, no, it's too hard. Blah blah blah. I don't want to do it. And I was like, why did you stop dreaming? Because before life was still hard.
Wow.
But you
That
were
must
just
have been a tough conversation for
yeah,
him.
you were just allowing yourself to dream. It was pretty hard, but I saw him again 2 days after that, and then he had the time to think about it, and he was like, he needed this talk actually, because no one told him, like, life happened so hard on him that he never took, again, the moment of solitude to really think about it.
To reflect on
Exactly.
where he
But
is.
me seeing him in a gap of 7 years saw the difference, because people around him didn't, like, it's little change.
Yeah.
It could go up or down, and this little change made him going really, really down. Like, at some point, I don't know, his wife saw him from here to here, but didn't really, it happened every day a little bit. So she didn't saw him, she didn't see him, sorry, like, changing, But me, not seeing him for 7 years, I was like, how? Wow, what happened to you, man? Like, it went from this to this. Like, what happened, So you need to change. And I feel like a lot of people, and again, you were talking about Disney before, like, when you were young, we have so many dreams.
Yeah.
We're going to go to the moon. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. We're going to, and then you
get older.
Yeah, you get older. Again, life happens. You have a job that you don't like. You have to work, you have to do things. And then you're like, it's okay. Whatever. It's just life. Just going to do it for 40 years, retire, and then die.
Yeah.
I'm just going to accept it. People are not allowing themselves
Yeah.
to dream. And I think there is no limit of age, again, because I was like reading about it. KFC founder.
The owner,
exactly.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
He was like 55 or something
Yeah.
when he started his business. He failed so many times in his life.
Yeah.
But now his face is all over the place. I was in Vegas. There's the biggest KFC in the US.
Didn't you meet Chris Brown?
I met Chris Brown, not in Vegas.
And Drake's
in
dad?
LA. In LA. Yeah, so this is a funny story.
You met Drake's dad.
Yeah,
That's so crazy.
Again, dreaming was important, because this trip, to be honest, like, with my friends, it's my friends from uni. So we have this thing where we said, okay, every year we're going to have a trip together, a week trip together to just, recharge our batteries and all, like, having time together, like,
Are
as
any of them
men.
your business partners?
No, they're
Okay.
not, but they're all entrepreneurs.
Okay.
They're all businessmen.
Wow.
So this is the good thing. Like,
Great
it's really,
place. Yeah.
so this is another thing that we can talk about, like your surroundings.
Circle.
Super important.
Why do you think I'm hanging out with you? Other than you're a nice guy. Other than you're like a really nice guy.
And we have goals for you, by the way, Sahel, that we're going to
Yeah,
talk about
yeah.
maybe later. Like, we have goals for you.
sure.
But yeah, like, literally, you have to hang out. Like, I love this saying says that you have to be the dumbest guy in the room, because then you're going to learn, and I love it. Like, I love being around people that are teaching me a lot of things. You're teaching me. Like, today, again, I learned so many things, and I love it,
One thing I really love about... Go on, say it.
No, but, like, okay, and I'm thinking about something else now.
Go.
That I'm telling you, so
I'm a professional podcaster. I will remember mine. Say it.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about Drake and all of this kind of thing, but then I'm thinking about what was I thinking about? Oh my God.
About the goals and the dreams and giving me goals and
Yeah, but I was talking to you about the surroundings, the circle.
the surroundings that you keep around you and the entrepreneurs and the trip.
And yeah, so they're putting, okay, I don't remember. Sorry, it might come back. Whatever, it's okay.
Dumb. Okay.
It's okay. Whatever. So about the circle, what is super important about being the dumbest guy in the room? Oh yeah, I remember now.
Nice.
The thing is, when we quit school, we're like, okay, I've finished my teaching, my learning, like, my path is done. Like, okay, I know what I need to know, and I'm the master of everything in my life. So I'm not going to learn anything else. I had this mentor that was really impressive, because he was 55, but he was always asking me for my advices. And it
Wow.
was super, for me, it was kind of shocking at first, because I was like, like, you're 55, man. Like, you can, like, I have nothing to teach you, And he was always asking for my advice.
Humility.
And yeah, and he never really told me, like, hey, okay, like, I'm like, you can I want to learn from you. But the way he was acting showed me that he wanted to learn from me. And like he kind of marked me in the way where I'm always thinking I'm never gonna think, okay, you are too young, or you don't have enough experience, or you didn't do it, or I'm older than you, I have more experience than you, so you cannot teach me anything. I think we have to be open-minded enough to learn from literally anything. I'm learning from my nephews and nieces that are 3 years old, 4 years old. They're teaching me things, in life, and I accept it. And when you are open enough to learn, then my goodness, you're gonna get so much. You're gonna receive so much, so much.
Do you know what, Mansour? This is literally something behind the cameras. I was speaking with Yasmin earlier, and this is something I literally told her about. That the quality that I like most in you is the fact that you're able to show humility and learn. Because Mansour's my actual friend here. So you had dinner with my mom and her boyfriend, and in this dinner they were talking to you about like ways to grow on YouTube and stuff. And you're someone that has like 300K, or how many subscribers do you have now?
370K.
Yeah. Okay. So like 370K. They don't even have YouTube accounts, and they're giving you advice, but you still learn. You still like we're open to learn and to learn. But some people would not be like that,
because you never know what they can teach you. And sometimes those kind of people that are not on YouTube are gonna give me an idea that I never thought about.
Yeah.
Honestly. And like that's why I think it's super important, because I grew so much learning from people, that are not even specialists in their area, but still they're gonna have they're gonna have a view outside the box, sorry.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna be something new that you can implement in your life, So honestly, be open-minded, be ready to learn from anyone.
You've taught me a lot, bro, even in a short amount of time. And this reminds me of this. No, for real, bro, you've taught me a lot. And not by saying things to me, but from me observing you, which means more to me. It's one thing for someone to talk to you and give you lessons, which you've also done with me. And it's another thing to like just live your life, and then based on how you live your life, someone just observes you and they learn. And that's one thing you've definitely taught me, to show humility no matter where you are in life. And you're talking about being a student, right? It's like, I feel like you have to learn how to be a student and a teacher. And I think this is something you've done well. I don't know if you've like spent time or effort to do this, or if it happened naturally, but you have to learn to be confident enough to be a teacher, and to be humble enough to be a teacher, right? To teach people in a certain field, and then know that even though you're a teacher in this field, you're a student in another field. You can't be a teacher in every field.
Exactly.
You have to be a student in another field, and you have to be willing, again, humble and confident to learn lessons and show humility. But then sometimes, even in the same field where you're a teacher, even in that field, there's other teachers there.
Exactly.
So you could be a student and a teacher, and it's so important to know when to be a student and when to be a teacher. And I think that's something you've done really well. That's something you've really, really mastered, I think. Because even when you were like taking advice from me from working out, I was so surprised at first.
But why?
Because I'm like, it's because you're in some places, you're the teacher and I'm the student. But you're like treating yourself as a student speaking to another student.
Yeah, that's the thing. Actually, we're learning together.
In my mind, that's not how life has been. So when I saw you do it, I'm like, what? What is this? Where does it come from?
What I think is like teaching something, like if we take the analogy with teacher student, again, like when you're teaching, you're learning twice. So it's super important for me to be capable.
My mom's calling.
Hi, mom. so you have to be like humble enough to learn and teach. Like when you're teaching, you're like, okay, I'm learning again. So I have to accept it. But I'm really happy that you're telling me this, because I'm trying my best, like to do it actually, like to learn from other people. And for me, it became kind of natural because I will ask, like, for example, last time, like, I have a gardener like in my apartment, so it's the gardener of the building, but he comes home, and yeah, it could be super impressive. People from friends that are gonna watch this are gonna be like, this guy is super rich because he has a gardener at home. But it's Dubai. Dubai is special.
You're part of the Illuminati.
Yeah,
Only the Illuminati have gardeners and money.
That's just crazy. So this guy came home and he is like, this is amazing how he's treating the plants. He's brushing them, like, for every I swear to God, every leaf he's gonna brush them, like, with so much love. And I was like, wow. I'm like, my jaw was literally dropping. I was watching him and I was like, this guy is crazy. Like he's showing so much love to these plants. And then I was like, I get how he's getting better at it. So I was asking him so many questions. And the thing is, I love people that are passionate about something. Like, even if I don't like your passion, or I don't know anything about it, like, when you're passionate about it, for me, it makes it so interesting, you know. So I was asking him so many questions, like, because I love plants, and again, I'm so bad at it. But I was trying to learn, like, from him, and even, like, asking him so many questions about how he started. So he was telling me about his business, and I was asking him many questions about it. And then at some point he told me, hey, you are the businessman here. Like, why are you asking me all of these questions? You know, he was like, I'm just a gardener. Like I'm not even a businessman, you know. And I was telling him the way he was seeing business was super interesting for me, you know, because he was from India and he was telling me so many stories about mindset. Yeah, he was telling me so many stories about India. Like, we do this and we do that. And I was like, wow, this is super interesting, you know. I never really thought about it. And at some point he stopped and he was like, you are the businessman here. Why I'm telling you my stories? Like, you should tell me stories. And I was like, come on, I'm learning so much. You know, like, letting people, and I love to speak, but letting people speak and listening to them is super important, you know, like, because you can hear, but listening is different. Yeah. So yeah, and to come back about the circle, that is really super important again, because we don't think about it sometimes, but like, people that are our surroundings can have a super positive effect on us, but at the same time, again, like, it's like the mind, it's like the phone, it can have really bad impact on ourselves. So I'm telling you this because I have my friends that I told you that are all businessmen, and we are motivating ourselves so much.
That is like, that trip sounds so.
It was amazing when we were in LA, where I met Drake and Chris Brown and Drake's father. Like, my friend, he had a contract. Like, a guy called him from, I think, Lithuania or some Latvia or something, telling him, like, hey, we made this deal, 200,000 euros, and I was super excited for him. But at the same time, I was like, wow, he did this. I can do something like the same. So I'm gonna work my ass off, like, during those holidays to make something great too, you know. And it was like, we just fuel up ourselves, you know. It was super interesting because we were having fun at the same time, but at the same time we were working together, you know, trying to do something big, and it was super interesting.
And it's fun.
It was super fun.
Like,
you know?
you're working on your holiday, but it's not like I don't like this.
Yeah, exactly. Again, we're talking about, like, passion and being an entrepreneur and do things that you love.
Question for
really?
You. Whenever you're
and do things that you like. I just want to like add that at the same time, I had this friend that I knew for my whole life, literally, because I knew her. It's a girl. I knew her since I was maybe 9 or something.
Wow.
But this girl, unfortunately, was really, really, really depressive. Like, and in a negative way, she could bring you down.
Oh.
And okay. I tried my best my whole life to try to put her up, giving her advices, being there for her when it was hard and all of it. But at some point, I figured out that I like to say that I'm not Nelson Mandela. I'm not. I don't have like unlimited patience. You know, like, in my life, I'm not Gandhi or whatever. Like, I cannot, like, take too much on myself. And I decided to cut my ties with her. And I was like, because I need my life. I cannot accept this amount of negativity in my life, because life by itself could be super hard sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
And you have to be strong enough to carry on and, like, walk through the path again, what we were saying, you know, the obstacles and all. But if you weight yourself up with some burdens that you are not responsible for, it's going to be even harder, you know. So you can take your part, of course, but at some point you have to think, hey, okay, this guy or this girl that is in my life, is it helping me progress? You know, there is a saying, it's in Western African Ivory Coast, they say, si tu ne m'arranges pas, ne me dérange pas, which means if you're not taking me further, like up, at least don't take me down. At least like I don't like, okay, you're not taking me up, it's okay, stay in my life, but at least don't take me down.
I mean,
and
you
for
gotta
me,
have certain boundaries,
yeah,
right?
and for me it resonates. And boundaries, again, this is another subject that is super important. And Sahil, I had to learn, and I'm still learning to put
Boundaries are your way of communicating not only with other people but yourself, how you want to be treated.
It's super hard, Sahil.
And that's something I've realized.
And this is something I'm still learning, and you can teach me about a lot, because it's super hard for me, because I grew up in a household where my mom was always telling us, put other people first before than yourself. So I grew up like this, thinking, okay, I cannot hurt him or hurt her, telling her my boundaries. So I'm just gonna accept. Just get into into my boundaries. So it was super hard. And I had this talk with my sisters, like talking about it, like, hey, how do you handle boundaries? And we figured out that none of us like have put limits in our lives, and we're just accepting. So this is super important, put boundaries.
Yeah. I think one thing about boundaries is there's always like a seed, right? We're talking about the flower in the garden.
Oh yeah.
But sometimes even for bad things there can be a seed. And there can be the water that nurtures it, So
the wind, the sun, everything that you say.
Everything for the positive can also be there for the negative, right?
Yeah.
You just have to make sure you're doing it for the positive. But even for, certain beliefs, like in order for, like, I need to be loved by everyone. That's a belief some people have. And it's subconscious, but it's there.
Yeah.
And this is the most difficult thing. Some beliefs are just subconscious and you don't know them. I'm going to tell you the story I had, okay? Something that happened to me. And this relates to solitude. When I was younger, I remember a time when I was sitting in this basketball court and I had my friend who was in a relationship. And, they were all being romantic, kissing, whatever. At this time, I was single. I had just broken up with my first girlfriend, maybe.
The one that was racist?
No, before her. It was even before her. And in my mind, because I wasn't happy, I saw them being romantic and I'm like, subconsciously, in a split second, bro, in 0.5 seconds, in my mind, I'm like, that's what I need to be happy. So see how quickly you see, observe, and then create a belief.
Boom.
Okay, in 0.5 seconds. Now, your mind is a beautiful thing, okay? So once you give it an instruction, it does everything to do it, but it's not smart enough to see the reality, right? So in my mind is like, okay, for me to be happy, I need that, okay? So what happens now? Every time I'm experiencing great things in my life, but I don't have a romantic partner, I limit the amount of happiness I allow myself to feel, because in my mind, I have created a belief that if I don't have this, I'm not happy. Okay? Similarly, I could have been in such great relationships, but because my mind needed to be happy as quick as possible, rather than taking time to look at the right person and find the right relationship, it's like, I don't care, I just need a relationship. So that actually made me get into relationships with people that I shouldn't have been in relationships with. And I didn't end up being happy. And then there was this time when I was in Kite Beach in a restaurant called Laola.
Okay.
This is my place of solitude. Every time I need to go to read, to spend time in solitude, that's where I go.
Oh, I've been there. It's in front of the
No
Starbucks
way.
and
Yeah. Wow, okay. In that moment, bro, I was reading and I was being present. And this memory just came in my mind. And I'm like, do you know what? That couple that I saw, about 2 months later, they ended up breaking up, okay? And they actually weren't happy, but they were being romantic at that moment. It's crazy to think that from across the court, I assumed they were happy, and based on that assumption, which was not true, I created a belief that affected me for years.
Crazy.
From the ages of 13,
happiness.
To, I'm 23 now, 23, okay? 10 years, this one belief affected me so much, until now I realized, no, this is not a belief that I need to keep. And it's just crazy. And sometimes this is a tough pill to swallow, that a belief can be put in your mind in 0.5 seconds, but it can affect your life for like 10 years.
Crazy.
And then it takes 0.5 seconds to get rid of the belief again.
And how did you get rid of it?
Just spending time alone, bro.
That's
reading The 8 Rules of Love by Jay Shetty.
Okay.
And I do this thing on the weekend. I've already mentioned this before, but I sit, okay? No phones, by the way. No phones,
important.
okay? And I sit, I read a book. Even if the book has something that's so obvious, I'm like, no, I'm still going to reflect on this. So I sit, I read, I reflect. Bro, the reason why I find this so important is because when you're going through life every day, situations take emotions and you put yourself into that, that situation, right? But sometimes you have to disconnect with your environment to connect with yourself. So the first hour that I'm doing this, okay, I have all these thoughts, blah, 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 and I start becoming more mindful. Second hour, my mind becomes clear. Third hour, my mind becomes more clear. By the fourth hour, bro, everything that happened to me in the past week, it's gone now. And it's just me being present. And that's where my insights come. That's where my ideas for podcasts come. And sometimes, honestly, I get messages throughout the week. And this is some people are going to be like, oh, finally, this is why. Because I take time to reply to messages. But sometimes I ignore messages until I'm in that state of mind to reply. So honestly, you have to disconnect with the world to connect with yourself sometimes.
Super interesting.
By the way, you asked me if I have tattoos. Do you have any?
I don't.
Are you ever gonna get any?
Sorry, it's scary. It's too scary for me.
It's not painful after. The first one when I was 16 was painful.
I had a friend of mine that had a whole tattoo like on his whole feet. My goodness, like he was bleeding and all. Like I was like, I think I can kind of get traumatized. I was like, I'm not gonna get some, but yeah, I still want to go to the gym and bulk up. Okay. This is my goal.
Bro, I had a question. For your friend that has the dreams thing, right? Mm-hmm. There are a lot of kids that have dreams, and there are a lot of parents that have dreams and that have all of this. How do you... Actually, there's two questions I wanted to ask you. One I forgot about and now I remembered. The first one is, if you have 500 dirhams to 5,000 dirhams. I know you're big into investing. Can you still, is that good enough money? Because I know a couple kids are watching this and they're like, I don't have tons of money. I have like 500 dirhams saved. What can you do with that to give you back a better investment?
To make it better?
Yeah. Is there something you can do, or do you just keep saving till you have more?
I would give it a try, actually, because I started investing when I was like 18. I remember like the day of my birthday, I told my mom, hey, I want to start investing because I really wanted to do it. Like I was kind of in love with stock market, and I didn't have a lot of money. I think I had like around this amount, maybe 200 euros that it's going to be 800 dirham. And I still started, trying to invest.
I love the accent. When you said dirham.
Dirham. Yeah, I'm trying to learn Arabic, by the way, but this is another story. So I tried, I made a mistake, lost it all, but it was kind of worth it because it was the cost of my training, so I trained. Okay. So you should start, the earliest you start, the better, because there is the compound interest. Even if you don't invest them it's investing. Like you put them in on an account that has return, it's not risky, but then you can make like, I don't know, 5%, 10% on it. And then it's good because then you're going to have the compound. The thing is, this is a good question because the thing is we want, and nowadays mostly because of social network and all, we want fast return. And I was like this. I want to say I'm still like this a little bit, but now I have greater means, so it's easier to have faster return. But I was really like this, and I wanted the fastest money possible. I remember starting investing. I was like, I have 1,000 euros to invest. I want to be a millionaire. Like, how am I gonna do? So then this is the biggest mistake, because then this is the fastest way to lose your money, because then you're gonna just gamble. It's just gonna be at some point gamble, because then you have to put your money in a super risky kind of thing to have a fast return. So fast return means bigger, greater risks. So my advice would be, you could start, but then accept that it's gonna take time to see this money compound and become something that you can spend. I mean, you can still have 20% on a year on 500, but then you're only gonna get 100 more. So you might think, oh, there's not a lot of money, but still 20%.
Okay.
and this is amazing. So you could start, but learn the
Learn
process.
before you do
Yes,
it. Just to
exactly.
don't just try to get it as quick as possible.
Exactly. Like right now, what is popping, we talked about it, is crypto. So we're going to see, and I'm sure about it because the bull run is starting, we're going to see all these people coming into crypto and be like, okay, I want to be millionaire so
By
fast.
the way, Bitcoin is going crazy.
Yeah, right
it's
now.
at like 70.
72.
Because
right now.
72 because I
Yeah.
invested in it like 2 years ago, and I'm just about to. I think we talked about this before, but I'm just about to take some money out and leave some still there. But
When did you start it? At what point of Bitcoin? Like, how much was it?
At okay, when I started investing, it was at like 30.
Okay. Wow.
But at the time, because I didn't really know too much about the long-term aspect of it as much, when it got to like 35, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take it out.
It's sold.
The last one I bought was at 40.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to learn. Like trying to starting investing young and with this 500 dirham, then it's gonna be a teaching. You're gonna, like Warren Buffett, for example. When he was 9, he's saying it was his biggest mistake because he invested in this stock. Same as you, I don't remember exactly like how much profit he had. He had profit, but then the stock exploded. It went to the moon, and he was so sad because he put his sister money into it, and then they didn't make that much money out of it. And he said it was a lesson for him. He was like, okay, if I'm sure about my investment, then I'm just gonna let it go. Like at some point. So
everything's a lesson and investment in that sense, right?
When you think about it, yes. So now that you learn, you might know that Bitcoin, maybe you have studied Bitcoin and now you know that it might go even further, and then you're not gonna sell so fast. Yeah, because we can do a whole podcast about Bitcoin, because this is a whole environment, and this is even a way of life now. Like, Bitcoin is a way of life for a lot of people because of what it represents. Again, fiat money, like currencies, as we call them, like AD, euro, dollars, blah, 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 whatever. But yeah, right now it's booming. And again, we come back about the entrepreneurial mindset. I'm talking about this to my friends because this is so funny. When it was going down and the prices were super cheap, nobody wanted to hear about it. I was talking to everyone. Hey guys, I'm starting buying at 15,000. Everybody was like, "Are you crazy? Like, why are we buying this thing? It's going down."
No way.
But this is the moment where you have to buy it. But again, this is experience. This is just experience. I'm not a magician. It's just that I started investing, as I was telling you, when I was 18. I made so many mistakes. I lost so much money that I know this kind of things. So I did my study about Bitcoin. Like, I really studied it, and then I believed in it. I was like, okay, I know that this thing is not worth 15K right now, so I'm gonna invest into it. So I bought. I DCA'd into it. And then now it's at 1572. And when my friends are coming, they're like, wow, you're so lucky you invested at 15. No, bro, it was super hard for me because it was still going down. And
this
I told
is
you guys.
something that I've had a bunch of guests actually talk about. Nothing is luck. It's all, you can buy luck.
Yeah.
You can buy your way into luck. Even like a lottery, for example. People say, oh, he won the lottery, he got lucky. That person bought a ticket.
He had to take the chance. He still had to take the chance. Yeah, exactly. He woke up, got out of his house, went to the lottery and bought the ticket.
Everything can be bought. Yeah. And I feel like most times when people say, "Oh, you're lucky," it's just because they feel that because they don't want to put in the work, they don't want to accept the fact that someone else has to get it. So they want to feel like they want to feel like if someone else can get lucky, so can I. But if they feel like someone else has to put in the hard work, they're like,
yeah, so I
so
didn't
should
do it.
I.
Yeah. So should I, but I didn't do it, and I don't want to do it. So yeah.
So it's easier to just say, you're lucky.
Yeah.
What are the 3 or 4 like cryptos that you're investing in right now?
So my top 5 right now is Bitcoin. Okay, no, not even Bitcoin anymore because it went up so fast that I kind of reevaluated my portfolio and actually sold some to buy some altcoins. I have Bitcoin, I have Ethereum, of course, but I'm stacking them so you have a return. Solana is the 3rd one, and I have the graph that is kind of, if I want to explain it, like right now the narrative in crypto is AI. AI is the thing right now because of ChatGPT. Everybody's talking about AI. So one of the narratives that are going to be in the bull run. So okay, not financial advices, blah 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 blah, whatever. But one of the narrative is AI, And so I bought this crypto, but I bought it actually even before the explosion of AI. You can say I was lucky in a sense because I bought it before, but for some reasons that it is the Google of the blockchain. Like if you want to search for something on the blockchain, this is the only platform that offers it. It's called the Graph. So I bought this, and now it's helping AI. It has AI into it, so now it's popping really, really hard. So it's gonna be the Graph, and I think my fifth is Veracity. That is an other crypto that is about advertising on the blockchain. So as I'm a YouTuber as well, I know that ads are really profitable, and now putting AI and the blockchain on it could be super good. So this is right now my top 5.
Wow. Well, there you go. That's a real. When I asked that question, I'm like, this is gonna be a real.
You were telling me about it last time. Like you have moments in the live where you're thinking, in the podcast where you're thinking, yeah, I'm gonna make this a real.
That's why when you were speaking, I'm like, boom, that's a real already.
So this is my top 5.
Oh, that's funny.
Cryptos.
Okay, another real moment. This is funny.
I'm gonna put it on my crypto channel actually because I have a crypto channel, so I'm gonna put it there.
Nice. Okay. Another question, bro. You were talking about traveling and working, okay? I'm remembering about the time when you were a kid and you saw those 2 adults who were traveling and making money, and that's
living the life.
You saw freedom.
Yeah.
What is the difference in the freedom that you saw then and the freedom you see now? So how has your perception of financial freedom changed from when you were a kid to now? Because a lot of people may think, I have to work on a holiday. That's not freedom.
My goodness, it's 100% better than I was thinking actually. This is funny what you're saying because I was explaining because yesterday I had visitors like at home at 11 at night. They came to pick up something and I was working, and they were like, "Wow, like you work so much, might be hard." And actually I was super excited in doing what I was doing, that I was pissed that those guys came home because I wanted to focus, I wanted to focus on what I was doing. And this is, for me, this is the biggest freedom, is doing what you love. I was telling my partner that is now in Dubai too for my other company, Navico, the French one. I was telling him last time how grateful I was. Like we went before Ramadan started to have a coffee and like kind of reflect on the past year, and I was telling him how grateful I was in the, like right now, because of course I'm a human being, so I'm complaining like sometimes, I'm like, hey, I want to make more of this, I'm not doing this enough, blah blah blah. But I was telling him the thing is, Alhamdulillah, like honestly, I'm really, really happy about my life right now. I couldn't have imagined that I would have the life that I have right now, because I feel the freest, how would you say it? Like the freest I've ever been, and possible I could have imagined. I could have never imagined that I would be this free. I can wake up the time I want. I do what I love, literally, like doing, like I have my laptop all the time with me because I'm doing what I love. Like all of the segment that I'm touching are things that I love doing, like the crypto we were talking about. I love it. Investing, this is one of my passion. YouTube, I love it because I'm sharing my advices with people and like teaching, as you said, and learning from them because I have comments and learning from all of these people. I love it. I love literally everything that I'm doing. I love the neighborhood where I live. I love the people I'm around, like that are around me. You guys, I told you, and I'm gonna finish with it. Like you guys kind of give me hope, because to be honest, I was always telling my wife that I don't wanna. You were gonna say her name? Kids, huh? Were you gonna say her name and then you realized I can't say it? No, I already said it actually before, but no, I was thinking about something else, but whatever. Yeah, go on. I was telling her, like, I'm scared about having kids in this generation because TikTok, because blah blah blah. And when I met the community in Dubai, I was like, those kids are good, and now. You feel like I felt like, let's go, I love that. Honestly. So yeah, so I love the people that are surrounding me. It's amazing, people that I have around me, like you guys. Honestly, it's amazing. So yeah, I never felt freer than right now. So to wrap it up, financial freedom is the ability to do what you want in order to make money. Exactly. Rather than what you're forced to do for someone else to make money and then you get some of that. Is that what it is? Exactly. Okay. I was invited on a podcast last time with 2 girls that are from France, and they were asking me, hey, okay, if you get $1 million, to go back to work per year, like they pay you $1 million, or you and you do something like you become an employee again in a field that you like, but like you're not too much happy about it, or you continue doing what you love. I was like, this is a no-brainer for me.
No-brainer.
Like literally, honestly, I will not take it because I love what I'm doing. And
yeah, I think it's important, bro. It's just important. Like if you guys have something that you love doing, see how you can make money from that. That's just the goal, right, for everyone. Before we wrap everything up, I like to do 2 segments. I don't know if we're gonna have time for mine, so I'll just do Yasmin's segment. So the name of the segment is Late Night Thoughts. You pick a piece of paper and I pick a piece of paper. It could have the most random questions and then we both answer it. Okay. Are you ready?
Let's go. Reminds me of spirituality.
Mine too, actually. Okay, go on.
What is one thing you've been meaning to do that you keep putting off doing? Learning Arabic. This is what I was telling you guys. It was one of my goals, actually. Beginning of the year, I said, okay, 1st of January, I'm taking my lessons. But I had so many people. It's an excuse, of course. This is an excuse. What I'm going to say, because I should just have started. But this is an excuse. I recognize it.
Okay.
Most of people are telling me this is useless to learn Arabic in Dubai. You should learn Urdu. It's better because there is more people speaking the language than Arabic. And so it kind of got me confused. And most of the Arabs that I've been around are telling me, hey, my Arab is better than this Arab. You should learn this one. Like, not the Egyptian. You should learn the Lebanese. You should learn the
so many types of it. Yeah.
So many of it. And honestly, it kind of confused me. And I was like, what am I doing now? So too many options, not good. You keep it simple in life. Have 2-3 options. It's way better than too many options. And everybody's telling me, so I was like, but I want to learn the Quran Arabic.
I love that.
But everybody's telling me, no, it's too hard and nobody's speaking it, so it doesn't make sense. Like, so it really confused me. And I was like, okay, I didn't do anything then. Then I froze and I'm just pushing it back.
But sometimes when people are telling you not to do the things because it's too hard and stuff, that's when you should do it.
Yeah, exactly. This is true, actually. And I was like, okay, I won't learn this Arabic. But then people are telling me you shouldn't even learn Arabic. Like, you should learn Urdu. It's better.
Yeah.
If you live in Dubai, if you plan to stay here longer, then you should speak this language, because then it's going to be more profitable. Exactly, beneficial for you.
Well, there's 2 billion of us, so it's like...
Yeah, and it's true though. And I was thinking about it because this summer, so I was in Canada, I was in UK, and like Toronto and London. My goodness, I met so many Indians. And I was thinking about it. I was like, I should have some, like Indian words for them. It would have been so cool,
Yeah.
So, but I didn't. So,
well, shout out to the Indians, because we got taken over in history, and now we're taking over.
But literally.
Okay. My question. Sorry, your question. One thing I've been meaning to do, but I've been putting it off: traveling.
Oh,
a solo trip.
Interesting.
This year I'm gonna do it, 100%.
Very good.
My question is, if you could relive one day of your life, what would it be?
Oh, wow, that's deep. Honestly, wow.
My answer, honestly, is super easy. There was a time when I went to Sri Lanka to volunteer, and the accommodation I was staying in didn't have mirrors. And you're probably thinking, why would you say that? But there's a reason for that. It was the first time in my life where I've done selfless service for someone else without having a concept of myself. To the fact where I didn't even look at myself. I didn't even know what... I didn't shave my beard. I didn't even look at myself the whole time. And there were no chargers for phones. So it was like, there was just no concept of the outside world and whatever. And that was the first time I found spirituality, and I felt a sense of like freedom and stuff like that. So yeah. Yours?
That's amazing. Sahel. I don't have, honestly, this kind of days where I remember that it was like, okay, I had this kind of feeling. I'm thinking about a lot of days that were, for me, perfect days in my life. But if I have to pick one, I'll say maybe the last birthday of my mom, because we were all together, and it was amazing because my family split up all around the world. Like, I have my sister in London, my other sister's in Toronto, the other one is in Ivory Coast. I have family like all over the world, and spending time with them was amazing. they came to Dubai actually, and one day we really had the perfect day, the perfect family day. So I'll say this one. But I have many more like that I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about my niece and nephews that I love, spending time with them. It's been amazing. I was thinking about the day of my wedding, but honestly, it was super bad. Like, super stressful. Actually, when you get married, like you do it for others. So this day, my goodness, I wish I could redo it actually, but in a different way.
Yeah.
I would just disappear. I would just be like, okay, I'm taking my wife and let's go.
That's funny. All right, well, thank you so much, Mansour, for being
you.
here. We finally filmed the whole episode, and honestly, I wish we could film for longer.
I had so many more questions for you.
God.
Because like your goals and all of it, but whatever, it's gonna be for my podcast when you're gonna be invited.
Okay, bet. we'll do that, and I'll have you on for another episode at some point again.
Let's go.
All right, thank you. So where should people find you, by the way?
So
Give everything.
YouTube, yeah. So YouTube, I guess YouTube is the bit, but yeah, but
YouTube.
maybe Instagram because it's all in French. So Instagram, at least like I have the French, the English part. It's gonna be easier, I guess.
Well, and if you see him in person, follow him too.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, bro.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for
it was
everything,
amazing.
bro.
Thank you.